This is NBA Showtime with your host, Bob Costas.
And a heartfelt happy Valentine's Day. Accordingly, then, this would be the Love Shack, the Orlando Arena, home of Shaquille O'Neal and the Orlando Magic. Today, the Knicks are in town, bringing with them a 7-game winning streak and the best record in the Eastern Conference. Bob Costas in New York, along with Quinn Buckner. Welcome to the NBA Game of the Week. Now, unless Shaq brings down the rim during warm-ups, the tip-off is about a half hour away.
Yeah, that's the case, but with Patrick Ewing and Shaquille O'Neal, I know that's the marquee matchup, but I think in order for New York to be successful, what they have to be concerned about is getting Charles Smith involved in the offense, because he's the guy that can really key him. At 6'10", he's active and can play 3 positions. If he plays better offensively, New York can really challenge Chicago for the championship.
Okay, now, as we said, this is the third matchup between Patrick Ewing and Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq has gotten the better of the first 2 meetings, using his 60-pound weight advantage and considerable strength to muscle Ewing. At the other end of the floor, Shaq has played very good defense on Patrick, forcing him into some difficult shots and 37% shooting in the 2 games. In the first meeting at the Garden in New York, the Knicks won by 15, and though he was in foul trouble, O'Neal had the better numbers, outscoring and out-rebounding Ewing. In the second meeting in Orlando, Ewing's points went up, but he shot only 9 for 27, and the Magic beat the Knicks by 1.
I remember when I was in high school and he was in college and he just got drafted, I wanted to pattern my game after him. And, you know, he's a great player. He's 7'1", 300 pounds, and he uses every ounce of it.
Well, there's no question that Shaq has already joined the elite centers in the league. For more on the Ewing-O'Neal matchup, let's bring in our elite duo, Marv Albert and Mike Fratello. Marvelous.
All right, Bob, who can stay out of foul trouble may determine the outcome of today's game, and recently fouls have hurt Shaquille O'Neal. In fact, he has fouled out of 3 of the last 6 games, and as we saw last Sunday in the contest against Phoenix, rookie-type mistakes hurt Shaquille in terms of fouls that were picked up.
Well, Marv, basically, he's picked up his fouls 2 ways. One, he is a rookie. It's an apprenticeship. It's on-the-job training. He's learning as he goes along what he can and cannot do. Secondly, when you got a guy like that who blocks and changes shots, he has to cover a lot of times for his teammates. If we go back to a week ago when Orlando visited Phoenix, he did foul out. He got his first one being a little too aggressive, trying to be an offensive rebounder over the back of Barkley. Secondly, trying to block a sure score by Barkley. The attempted block, it's a foul. Number 3, he'll learn. Let Barkley go. Your team needs you on the floor. Don't commit a silly foul like that one. Number 4, you get him out near the foul line. He's not used to defending away from the basket. Number 5, a great acting job by Charles Barkley. And number 6, Skiles calling for help. I need you, Shaq. There's personal number 6. He'll learn as he goes along.
And Mike, earlier we talked with Shaquille about his foul difficulties.
Most of them are just silly fouls. Letting the guy catch the ball too deep in the lane or helping another one of my players out. And I think if I stop trying to block every shot, I could stay in the game. Some of the calls are questionable, but, you know, some are great calls. And I've always been one to get into foul trouble ever since high school. So I'm just going to go out and continue my game, and whatever happens, happens. And I hope I can stay in most of the time.
Now, Mike, if you were coaching Shaquille, not that I'm suggesting a career change here, what would you tell him, though, in terms of the excess of fouls recently?
Did you wear this shirt to match mine on Valentine's Day? Is there a purpose?
For more on the Shaquille O'Neal Patrick Ewing matchup, let's go over to Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Marv, I just finished talking to both these big centers just moments ago in the locker room, trying to press them on this rivalry. Now, both of them tried to downplay it. Patrick told me that it's team against team. It's not man against man. As I pressed him a little bit more, he says, okay, anytime I play against the so-called great centers, it really gets me fired up because it brings out the best in me. Now, when I talk to Shaquille O'Neal, he is a remarkable young rookie. Of all the rookies that I have interviewed the last couple of years, Shaquille is one who is not in awe of the NBA. He says he worries about other centers in the league about as much as they worry about him. He's not in awe at all. Now, as I was leaving the locker room, Charles Oakley walked by me and he said, hey, no matter what either one of them tell you, they will be going at it today. Bob?
All right, Ahmad, obviously a late arriving crowd in Orlando. Many empty seats, which we hope will be filled by 1 o'clock. Oh, it's already passed. What time is it, actually? By 1:30 Eastern time. Okay, 9 games on the NBA schedule last night. The marquee matchup was between the first and second place teams in the Central. The Cavaliers visiting Michael Jordan and the Bulls at Chicago Stadium. And there's number 23 back in the Bulls starting lineup following the one-game suspension. The game the Bulls lost at home against the Knicks Friday. Watch this. Craig Elo with a 55-foot fling at the end of the first quarter puts the Cavs up by 2. On to the third quarter. Fast break. Mark Price goes behind the back. Beautiful pass setting up Brad Daugherty. He led the Cavs with 25. Jordan, however, who got only 2 points in the first quarter, rebounded from that slow start, leading a Bulls comeback late in the third. Michael finished with 25. Chicago taking a 1-point lead into the fourth quarter. But it was Elo's 6th three-pointer of the game, coming with 46 seconds left to play, that sealed it for the Cavs. Cleveland, minus starters Larry Nance and Mike Sanders, nonetheless beat the Bulls in Chicago.
Elo really hurt us with his 24 points. I mean, you expect it from Price, you expect it from Daugherty, maybe a little bit from Williams, but Elo with 24 really hurt us. And we just didn't play any defense throughout the whole game.
Check this. The Bulls have now dropped 3 straight at home. Charlotte back on January 22nd, Friday night against the Knicks without Jordan, and this one to the Cavs. It's the first time Chicago has lost 3 straight at home in 7 years, dating back to February of 1986. Now, of course, they played much of that year without Jordan, who was out with a broken foot at that time. The loss dropped Chicago a half game behind the Knicks for the top spot in the Eastern Conference. The best record in the West is owned by the Phoenix Suns. They were on the road in Seattle as we go through the rest of last night's games. Just over half a minute left, and Danny Ainge will connect on the three-pointer, cutting the Sonics' lead to 93-92. Then in the final seconds, the Suns inbound with a chance to take the lead, and they do it as Ainge dishes to Charles Barkley. Barkley hits the clutch jumper from the side, and it's Phoenix by 1, 94-93. Barkley had 33, but he celebrated prematurely because the Sonics had one last chance to win it, and Derek McKee drives right past Richard Dumas for the game-winning basket with only 0.4 of a second on the clock. Seattle thus snaps the Suns' 5-game winning streak. Boston's 4-game winning streak came to an end in San Antonio. David Robinson leading the way for the Spurs, 28 points, 10 rebounds. San Antonio has now won 7 straight overall, and they are 22-3 for John Lucas. In Utah, Mookie Blaylock with a nice setup for Dominique Wilkins. Wilkins in the zone all night for Atlanta. He got 22 of his game-high 43 points in the fourth quarter. The Hawks get back to 500 with a win over the Jazz, and Dominique will return to the Delta Center next Sunday for the NBA All-Star Game. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for Sacramento's All-Star guard Mitch Richmond. He won't play in the All-Star game because of a broken right thumb. In the final seconds, Golden State down against the Kings by 1, but off the steal by Byron Houston, it's Latrell Sprewell hitting from long range, giving Golden State a 111-110 lead. Sprewell and Tim Hardaway each with 23. Following a timeout, Wayman Tisdale drives baseline and scores, but the play is whistled dead prior to the shot, a non-shooting foul nullifying what would have been the go-ahead basket, much to the chagrin of Gary St. Jean, the Kings coach. Still, Sacramento with one last chance, but Spud Webb misses at the buzzer. The Warriors hold on, and they snap their 8-game losing streak. 4 other results last night. Houston beat Minnesota as Otis Thorpe had 23. Christian Laettner with a season-low 7 for the Wolves. The Bucks snapped a 5-game losing streak. Frank Brakowski got 27 and grabbed 13 boards. The Pacers lost their 6th straight, despite Detlef Schrempf's triple-double, 34 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. The Nuggets have now won 10 straight at home. Robert Pack tied his career high with 21. And the woeful Mavericks lost by 23 at home to the Sixers. Dallas is now 4-43, and at that pace would finish 7-75. The all-time NBA record for fewest wins is 9, set by Philly in 1973. In light of that, I'm not sure if the Mavericks' interest in you for their head coaching spot is an invitation or a threat. All right, let's not negotiate on the air. Coming up, those 2 icons of information, the insiders, Peter Vesey and Bill Walton, will join us as NBA Showtime. Oh, what a frightening sight. Continues. Bill Walton, congratulations. Obviously, it's well-deserved. And Peter Vesey, who claims to once have visited the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. Well, the first topic is the skirmish between the Pacers' Reggie Miller and Michael Jordan on Wednesday at Market Square Arena. You've probably seen this already. One more look. They had been pushing and shoving, and ill feelings had been brewing earlier in the game. Now, at this point, Miller, after the tip-in, comes right after Michael, and Michael goes off, chases after him. Miller's going to get much the worst of it here as Michael grabs him and eventually rakes him across the face, but it was Miller who was tossed out while Jordan remained in the game and scored 40. A few weeks ago, I asked NBA Commissioner David Stern about the longstanding charge that the league gives preferential treatment to Michael Jordan and other superstars. Here's the commish.
We have rules, and we try to apply them evenly to everyone. Michael Jordan bumped an official. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I think I put it out of my mind.
In that overtime game in Utah?
Yeah, and when the Phoenix, when he played the only game in Phoenix that season, he had to sit down, and the fan mail was hateful. And I understand it. It was, how could you take him away on the only game into Phoenix? The answer is that's the rule, and it applies to everybody.
And the NBA held to that in this case and took Jordan away from the Bulls on Friday. Very important game against the Knicks. It also cost him, all things considered, about 50 grand, which he can pull out of the petty cash drawer. But more importantly, the game against the Knicks at home, Chicago loses. That could be very important in terms of overall Eastern Conference standing, or if they have the same record as the Knicks, the tiebreaker for home court advantage down the line. So it hurt.
It certainly did, but Michael Jordan did the right thing. Superstars do not get protected by the referees. They take a incredible beating out there, and they need to go to the foul line more. On that tape, Reggie Miller goes after Michael Jordan underneath the basket, and he stops and impedes his progress running up the court. Jordan had to do that. Sometimes you have to throw a punch to defend yourself, and if you don't, they're going to keep coming after you time and time again.
Rebuttal, Scribe.
Spoken like the warmonger that he was in the 70s. No, listen, I'll take great exception to the fact that the referees didn't do something before this began. I mean, there were two incidences before that where they should have been able to figure out what was coming. They did miss the punch that Jordan threw. Otherwise, they would have put him out of the game. But Rod Thorne, the VP of violence of the league, told me that there have been 20 instances since he's taken over there in the league office where refs have missed things and he's had to come in and make a decision and suspend somebody or fine somebody the day later. It was eminently fair.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on for a change. Why not? Because I do think the superstars do get the benefit of the doubt. Now, where I don't argue with you that he has to protect himself, but I think the officials had this opportunity, as you said, to stop this thing early. They didn't do it, but the rule is fairly applied once they had the chance to do this. In addition to this, quite frankly, I've got to think some of this has to do with the Bulls struggling, and Michael might be a little bit frustrated here, and that may have been his frustration coming out.
All right, next item on the agenda here, the trade deadline is 11 days away. What's hot?
Well, it's been pretty well documented that the Blazers have been trying to trade Kevin Duckworth. Hardly part of the rotation anymore. But the biggest news that I found out is that they're trying to move Clyde Drexler. They're shopping him all over the league. There's been a lot of dissension among the troops the last couple weeks. Clyde has gotten into it with some teammates. He wants the ball more. They are upset about his defense. Coach Adelman had to call every player in at the beginning of the week and talk to them individually. And the Clippers are the one team that have reached out for Clyde, talking about Danny Manning. Now, Duckworth might have to be included with that and another Clipper, but they are talking.
It's interesting that finally Clyde Drexler is doing what the Blazers have wanted him to do for years, be assertive, aggressive, a leader, want the ball more. And now that he's doing that, they're dumping him. But if they can get a Danny Manning, that would be great for them because their front line is really struggling. And with Rod Strickland in the mix in the backcourt now, they've got more flexibility. Drexler is certainly a possibility.
Well, I think it's a real possibility for a lot of reasons. I think this is a team that's been to the finals enough times with this unit as a nucleus, and it's time to look at changes where you and I agree for a change, is that Clyde is definitely on the downside. And if you get a Danny Manning, you got a chance to move up that ladder maybe a little bit more.
I know the Suns are already at the top of the heap, but they're looking to get better still as the playoffs approach, so they want a deal.
That's right. As evidence as we saw before when Richard Dumas couldn't stop Derek McKee, they need a defensive stopper. They need a rebounder. They're talking to Detroit about Dennis Rodman, offering, you know, the regular suspects, Oliver Miller, Chambers, Ceballos, Knight, those kind of guys, must stop. I don't think that'll be enough, but Bill's got another possibility.
Clippers also want Rodman very much, and they're willing to give Loivott or Kenny Norman, put in Gary Grant, and a lottery-protected #1 draft choice there. That could get the deal done. Any team would want Dennis Rodman that has a chance to win. He's an emotional player. He can't produce on a team that has no chance to go anywhere. That's Detroit right now. And then what's going to happen to the rest of those championship players in Detroit once Rodman leaves?
But of course you assume the risk involved with his personal circumstances, tragic as they are. When we come back, Quinn takes a look at the improving Knick offense. Their defense is already among the league's best. Now their offense apparently is clicking, and we'll get to it right after this. John Starks. Like his teammates, Starks has been on something of a tear, averaging better than 20 a game during the Knicks' current 7-game winning streak. New York's offense has come alive in the last couple of weeks. For most of the season, they were among the poorest shooting and lowest scoring teams in the league, but they've turned things around during the winning streak, scoring over 100 points in all 7 games and shooting better than 52%. Here's Quinn.
Pat Riley may be the best teacher in the game today. But this season, he was presented with 7 new students. And on paper, it appeared that Riley had the makings of a potent offense. But the progress had been slow, and until recently, it had been the D that had accounted for most of the Knicks' W's.
I think when you bring 7 new guys in, usually your defense is going to come around first if you have the effort and the commitment there. And the offense is going to take its time. And I think if you have watched us over the year, it's gotten better and it's getting better and it's getting better. So I'm comfortable with our offense. I'm very comfortable with our defense.
And with good reason. The Knicks' defense is ranked #1 in the league, allowing 95 points a game. Meanwhile, the offense has been near the bottom, primarily because it took so long for the new players to become comfortable in their new environment.
It's been slow for me because I've been moving around a lot. I've been playing the 3, 4, and 5 position. And, you know, to get a position and know it, the ins and out of that position, running the set plays that we have, that makes you a better offensive player. But I've been bouncing around a lot, and it's been tough to get to really know what to do in certain times when the offense is coming your way.
We're not playing to his strengths right now, and I think over the second half of the season, Charles is going to feel a lot more comfortable in his own spot.
The transition for me has been more mental. First of all, I just had to deal with getting past some of the injuries and the back problems I've had this year, and also just getting ready for the mental part of it, of not being in a high-profile type of a role, and just trying to be as consistent as I possibly can when I'm asked to do something, and just to make sure that I'm focused when I get on the basketball floor.
He is not the 21-point-a-game Rolando Blackman that everybody remembers from Dallas. I mean, he's 34 years old. He's experienced. He's going to become a great support player for us, and he's going to help us with his perimeter shooting. So I feel very comfortable with his role.
Now 47 games into the season, it appears the offense is finally coming together. The Knicks have won 7 in a row and have eclipsed the 100-point mark in each of their last 8 outings. The recent play of John Starks has provided the added backcourt spark the Knicks lacked earlier. Riley's new class appears ready for the second semester.
Our overall field goal percentage the last 6 or 7 games is up over 50%. We're scoring about 103, 104 points a game, and I always thought that we would probably be 6 or 7 points better once our players really understood the roles a little better, or maybe they understood the offense we were trying to run a little bit better, and they just felt more comfortable. And I do think we're going to get better as the second half of the season comes to us.
Everyone wanted it so bad to work in game 1, not understanding it takes time. I think we're learning that. Everyone is going with what got them traded here, and now it's starting to work.
The players that we had last year, Mason, Oakley, Patrick Ewing, John Starks, and Greg Anthony, because of them knowing the system, knowing what I want, it's almost as though they're gravitating to the majority of the minutes, with our newer players becoming support players. I don't know if that's going to be the case the second half of the year, but it's just sort of looking like it's developing that way, and I think that's what this whole process is about, is that it really does come to a head. Players will take care of playing time, combinations take care of combinations, and by the end of the season, you hope you got it right.
Well, Pat may be onto something there. They have the best record in the East, and yet they are obviously still improving. A lot of people will say, well, Chicago will kick it in gear in the playoffs and then it'll be all over, or Cleveland, if they stay healthy, has more star players. But still, the Knicks seem to have the biggest potential for growth, and yet they have the best record in the conference already.
And I agree with that, and I think what's really helping them now is after you play 47 games, you move along in the season, there's no hesitancy in knowing where players are going to be any particular place on the court. So you can now go up. If you fake a shot, you know somebody will get open and you can get them the basketball. I think that's the kind of thing that Charles Smith needs to become comfortable in the offense, because I contend that with his ability to play for sure 2 positions, possibly 3 positions, he's the most important part of their offense.
And of course, if Rolando Blackman ever finds his stroke for an extended period, that offense will get another bit of juice, right?
Yeah, it gets a pop, but it gets the pop because Starks has it for the most part, but the playoff experience of Rolando Blackman will be what would help them.
Okay, up next, the Knicks and the Magic from Orlando. Marv Albert and Mike Fratello will have the call, and we'll see you at halftime with a look at some of the new faces in next Sunday's All-Star game. Until then, enjoy the first half, everybody.
The NBA, the center position has a rich and varied legacy, from the domination of George Mikan to the athleticism of Bill Russell to the sheer power of Wilt Chamberlain to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's near-perfect blend of size and finesse. Great centers have always had an undeniable aura. The search for a dominant big man has often been seen as key to success in the NBA.
The New York Knicks select Patrick Ewing of Georgetown.
Upon entering the league as a celebrated top lottery pick, Patrick Ewing was expected to be the next in this long line of outstanding centers. While Ewing has endured and delivered consistent all-star years, he finds himself challenged at the peak of his career by a younger, bigger man. At the tender age of 20, Shaquille O'Neal is taking the league by storm in his rookie season. He easily surpassed Ewing in the all-star voting and will supplant him as the East's starting center next week. As the 2 men go head-to-head today, will Ewing look to prove he's been prematurely overlooked? Or will Shaq treat the older veteran in the manner he attacks backboards?
Get ready. It's the NBA on NBC.
This is the NBA on NBC. Today, it's the New York Knicks versus the Orlando Magic.
It is a beautiful 68-degree day in Orlando. You're looking at the Orlando Arena, the home of one of the NBA's most improved teams, the Orlando Magic. And this afternoon, they will take on the red-hot New York Knicks. The Knicks lead the Atlantic Division. They have the best record in the Eastern Conference. They're 32-15. They've won 7 in a row, 11 of the last 12, while Orlando is 22 up and 22 down. 22 wins more than all of last season. We welcome you to the NBA Game of the Week. Hi, everybody. Marv Albert along with the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello. Well, earlier this season, the Knicks, who like to keep the score down with their aggressive, grind-out style of play, were not scoring much, yet they were winning. Now they're winning even more so, and they've also been scoring more. Now, Mike, how has Pat Riley pumped up the offense?
Pat Riley feels it's come down to just 2 things. First, they're simply just making more shots now. He can't believe how poorly they shot the ball during the early months of the season. Secondly, they've expanded their half-court offense. It was a little bit too simplistic early in the year, now adding more plays to the off-guard position and the small forward position. If you need some numbers to support Riley's theory, you look back, the first 31 games, they averaged under 97 points per game, but now the last 16 games, almost 107 points per game. And the focal point from the beginning of the season has been Patrick Ewing. As well as he played played early, it's been even better as of late. In fact, the last 5 games, or since the starting all-star team was announced, which he is not going to be the starting center, Ewing averaging over 29 points per game, 12 rebounds, shooting 56% from the floor. In fact, he's been almost a point-a-minute man, 100 points in the last 106 minutes.
This is the third meeting of the season between the Knicks and the Magic. They split their previous 2, and the veteran Patrick Ewing has certainly had his hands full with the rookie Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, you talk about having some problems. Let's go back to the last game here when the Knicks were down 1 point with 7 seconds remaining. They're going to their go-to man, Patrick Ewing, down low. Shaq was challenged. He defended his goal with the block shot, and Orlando was able to hold on for the 1-point victory against the Knicks. But today, it won't only be Shaq. It'll be the supporting cast of the Orlando Magic who will have to find a way to get and make shots against a very physical, tough, and the league's best defense, the New York Knicks defense.
And both teams have had more than their share of injuries and ailments. For more on that, let's go over to Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Marv. On the Knicks team, Doc Rivers and Charles Smith both having bad ankles. Rolando Blackman on Friday night hurt his knee and his ankle playing against the Chicago Bulls. He will not suit up, won't play, and he's going to wait till he gets back to New York to get more tests done on the knee and the ankle. On the other side of the Orlando Magic, Shaquille O'Neal, who loves to dunk, as you see him dunking here on Alonzo Mourning about 3 nights ago, strained his back. He came to the stadium earlier this morning, got some treatment on it. He is fine, and he'll play. Both centers, Shaquille and Patrick, have a touch of the flu. Marv?
Take a break here. When we come back, Patrick Ewing and his New York Knicks will take on Shaquille O'Neal and his Orlando Magic. Welcome back to Orlando. Capacity crowd, better than 15,000 on hand as we check out the starting lineups for the Knicks. A backcourt of John Starks and Greg Anthony. Anthony at the point guard position. Up front, Charles Oakley and Charles Smith playing at forward. And the center is Patrick Ewing, who will match with Shaquille O'Neal. And there is Pat Riley, who will make his 9th appearance as All-Star coach next Sunday in Salt Lake City. Now the Orlando Magic starting lineup: Nick Anderson, the NBA Player of the Week last week, and Scott Skiles, who has played very well. Tom Tolbert and Anthony Bowie on the front line, along with the 20-year-old rookie Shaquille O'Neal. And as Ahmad mentioned, he's been suffering with a touch of the flu, also bad back. There's Matt Guokas in his 7th season as an NBA head coach, the only head coach in the 4-year history of the Orlando Magic. The officials are Joe Crawford, Ron Garrison, and Joe DeRosa. The Knicks on Friday night beat the Bulls for their 7th straight win. They won in Chicago. The Bulls, without the suspended Michael Jordan, played inspired basketball, but the Knicks able to end the 13-game regular season losing streak in Chicago. And Mike, we talked about the good shooting by the Knicks recently. Well, the Knicks shot 57% against the Bulls on Friday.
Well, it's the ability to diversify your offense. Everyone knew from the beginning of the season it was only Patrick Ewing in the half-court offense. Now more people are involved in what's going on. And as simple as it sounds, they're making their shots.
Orlando comes off a Thursday night loss in Charlotte, 116-107. Their previous game last Wednesday, they beat Cleveland to surpass their victory total of all of last season. Charles Smith getting down low and just got a piece of the net, but it was knocked out of bounds by the Magic.
A big size advantage there at the small forward position for New York. Smith going over the top of Nick Anderson.
Now Ewing drawing the double team. Smith is open. And it will be Orlando ball. Charles Smith has had his ups and downs this year in his first year with the Knicks, coming over in the deal with the LA Clippers. Went through training camp bothered by knee problems, not in proper shape, at least Pat Riley type shape. Here's Bowie pitching back out. Skiles for 3. And the rebound handled by Ewing. Then Charles Smith worked his way back into the starting lineup after Tony Campbell did not fare well, although Campbell has played well recently. Here is Anthony, and the Knicks with a 2-0 lead. Smith did okay for a while and then went into a funk. Recently, he's been hit by the flu, and he's trying to shoot his way out of it. Had a good one against Chicago on Friday.
It's interesting to hear Pat Riley talk about Smith and how they've tried to develop him in the small forward position. Riley knows his most natural spot is the power forward position. Down the road, maybe 80-20 split, 80% of the time at the power forward. But right now, he wants him in there at the small forward spot.
Charles Oakley has been shooting efficiently recently. He went a long time without even looking for shots. He was passing up layups at one stretch.
I mentioned to him prior to the game, hey, the jump shot's back again. He said the jump shot never was gone. He said, I just wasn't taking it. He said, it's trying to understand where I fit into this half-court offense.
All right, here's O'Neal. The power move by Shaquille. So the Knicks with a 4-2 lead.
If you let Shaquille that close to the basket, there is nothing you can do about it once he catches it.
Ewing, yes. Patrick Ewing giving the Knicks a 6-2 lead. Both Patrick Ewing and Shaquille O'Neal hit with a touch of a flu recently. Shaquille feeling around for Ewing, and he drew the foul. It's an offensive foul, and a technical foul has been called. A technical foul indicated by Joe Crawford.
Foul on number 32, Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, apparently Shaquille had something to say.
Shaquille had made his move to the middle. The Knicks turned him back to the baseline. They were coming on a double, even triple team against the big center. He had nowhere to go, lowered that shoulder and tried to find some space. Starts middle, they force him back baseline. Ewing holds his ground, and then he drives that right shoulder through. After the foul was called, the reaction by Shaquille earns him an early technical foul. So he picks up a personal and a technical.
However, John Starks not able to take advantage. The Knicks with a 6-2 lead. Ewing with a back tap handled by Skiles. Here's Tom Tolbert, who's had the hot hand recently. Lays it down to O'Neal. Shaquille was stopped. And it will be Nick Ball. Let's go over to Ahmad.
All right, Marv, on that last foul on Shaquille O'Neal, in the warm-ups, he was showing the official, Joey Crawford, that move, and Joey told him at that point that would be a foul, and he followed through and called the foul.
Yes, Joey, always a man of his word. And a foul once again. That's number 2 on Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, in the mismatch, Charles Smith caught the much smaller defensive player trying to front them down low. Now it's a matter of the lob pass going up over the top, the rotation a little bit late that time coming over. Charles Smith goes to the foul line. An early decision for Matt Kukas. Do you leave Shaquille on like he did last week against Phoenix? Well, against Phoenix, the second foul didn't come this early in the game.
And Greg Kite will replace Shaquille O'Neal. Picks up the 2 earlier. Greg Kite, a 10-year man from Brigham Young. Shaquille sitting down, 1 of 3 from the field and 2 fouls. The Knicks not a strong free throw shooting team, and they have missed their first 3 from the line, although they did well at the foul line against the Bulls on Friday, 28 of 34.
I was interested to see who Matt Kukas came with, whether you go with Kite, the experienced, bigger, stronger player, or since Brian Williams has been activated today, would he give him an early shot?
Yes, Brian Williams, who had been on the injury list for a good portion of the season, has been reactivated. That's an offensive foul. Ewing called for his first.
Well, you can mark this as a 1-up right now. 1 offensive foul for Shaquille, 1 offensive foul for Patrick Ewing. He tries the quick drop step. Tolbert there in position. A little bit of an acting job, but even it up. 1-1 offensive foul.
Here's Nick Anderson. So the Knicks with a 6-4 lead. Dennis Scott is now on the injury list with that strained right calf muscle, opening the spot for Brian Williams. Williams had been hospitalized during the summer due to diagnosed clinical depression. Recently cleared by team doctors, began practicing, and he's back on the squad, although perhaps not ready to play. Skiles diving for it, and it was deflected out of bounds. Last touched by the Knicks. The sheer hustle of Scott Skiles, who certainly has been putting the minutes in recently. He's had 8 48-minute games.
Well, he has had 8 games over 48 minutes, and in fact, he has one at 53 minutes this year.
Charles Smith with the rejection. Anthony very close to a palm, setting up Starks. Smith able to use the mismatch with Anderson here in the early going. 7.5 remaining, first quarter. The Knicks with the ball and a 6-4 lead on the Magic. Ewing and Bowie with the rebound. The matchup continues. Smith and Anderson. Ewing came out to help, and the Magic could not take advantage.
A few seconds ago, Patrick Ewing turned to John Starks and said, just play ball, stop all the talk out here on the floor. So Starks, who has been known to do a little bit of trash talking, Ewing taking the leadership role and letting them know, look, we don't need that right now, just play basketball.
Nice pass, Smith for Starks. Yes, it was earlier this season that Pat Riley was very upset with the trash talking and some of the strutting on the court of John Starks and Greg Anthony and Anthony Mason, and he benched all 3. In fact, all 3 missed the first meeting of the season between these two clubs. It gave playing opportunity to Charles Smith, and he was able to convert a season high of 24 points in that earlier game against Orlando. Timeout has been called. 6:52 remaining in the first quarter. It's the Knicks with an 8-4 lead on Orlando. Well, as we discussed at the start, the Knicks have been a very aggressive, grind-out style ball club. There are some coaches around the NBA who feel that the Knicks foul on every play. And I asked Pat Riley to address that charge.
Our team plays hard, and they take pride in playing hard. And we also know that because of the aggressiveness, that we're going to get more fouls per game. And so we know going in that we're going to probably be 5 or 6 fouls on the minus side than the opposition. We don't complain about it. I mean, we're going to play hard every single night, and I think other people are just getting to the point where they don't like that kind of play every single night. And so they complain about it to try to get an edge from the officials. I understand that mentality too, but it's not going to stop us from playing hard.
It's their style of play. They're going to dictate it with their defense, and they come at you night after night. That's what they pride themselves in. There are a lot of guys that want some easy nights out there at the offensive end. It's not happening against New York.
34, Greg Kite.
Foul committed.
His first and second team foul
on Greg Kite, and it will be Nick Ball. It's the Knicks 8 and the Magic 4 with 6.5 remaining in this first quarter. It was Phil Jackson of the Chicago Bulls among several who made the statement that, hey, the Knicks foul on every play, so the officials can only make some of the calls.
But Pat Riley also credits the other coaches with just trying to gain the edge, something that he tries to do in playing with the media as well.
And a foul call on the Knicks. It's on Charles Oakley. That's his first. Ironically, when Pat Riley was coaching the Los Angeles Lakers to championship seasons, he had a finesse ball club, and he was the one complaining about teams like the Detroit Pistons, how things have changed.
Well, you go with what you have, and you try and do the best you can with the talent available, and you play to that style of play.
Anthony Bowie, who has started the last 17 games, what with the injury suffered by Dennis Scott. The Knicks with an 8-6 lead on Orlando. Head fakes by Ewing, but he pops it back out. Here's Starks with the hesitation dribble. Skiles playing him well. Starks rebounded by Anderson.
And we shouldn't minimize the fact that Dennis Scott has been out, because he's a great three-point shooter. As Bowie hits another jumper, he is a great three-point shooter that stretches the defense out of the opponents, obviously making it a little bit easier for Shaquille to work down low.
The game is tied at 8. Ewing open. Rebounded by Tolbert. Well, Patrick Ewing here in the early going has gone to the jump shot. He is an excellent jump shooter, perhaps the best jump shooting 7-footer maybe in the history of the game. But the criticism concerning Ewing has revolved around the fact that he should go down low more frequently to take advantage of the power game, as he does right there.
Exactly what you were mentioning. That time taking it to the basket rather than fading away. But sometimes when you're so good at your favorite move, you just rely on it, and it's worked so often that it's tough to get away from.
Here's Skiles whipping by, and he draws the foul.
To show the respect for New York's rebounding, watch how Orlando a few moments ago played the pick and roll. Ewing will come over and set the screen as his man steps out right there to hedge on the roll man. Ewing spots up for a jumper. He doesn't roll to the basket. No one rotates to Patrick Ewing. They let him have it. They tell the screener, the defensive man playing the screener, you've got to get back on your own rather than coming with another player in the rotation.
And Patrick Ewing was called for that foul that put Skiles at the line. Skiles hitting his first, Ewing committing his second. So both Shaquille O'Neal and Patrick Ewing sitting out now with 2 apiece. Herb Williams has checked in, replacing Patrick Ewing. Anthony Mason has come on for Charles Smith. So the Knicks now with Oakley, Williams, and Mason up front. Starks and Anthony in the backcourt. And a steal by Bowie, recovered by Mason. They double up on Mason, and he lost it. Here's Bowie with Oakley back. Skiles with room. Mason for the rebound.
Concerned whether or not the legs of Skiles are tired right now after back-to-back Amanda block called on Skiles trying to move his feet. The back-to-back 48-minute games. Will his shot, the stroke, suffer a little bit because the legs aren't quite underneath him? A little bit late getting there, never got the left foot over. A good call that time.
Scott Skiles bothered by sore knees, bothered by a sore wrist, did not practice at all yesterday. He's averaged a team-high 39 minutes a game. He's playing too many minutes, no question. But Williams off the mark. And off the scramble, a foul charged to the Knicks. There's Williams diving.
34, Charles Oakley.
Along with Charles Oakley, and Oakley collects his second.
When the shot goes up, you watch Orlando scramble for rebounds. They have all 5 white shirts get back in there, trying to get a hand and help out. There's their point guard, Skiles, back underneath the backboard, just trying to knock it free, come up with the basketball somehow against the bigger, stronger Knicks front line.
Either club shooting well here in the first quarter, low-scoring quarter. Knicks 5 of 15, the Magic 4 of 13. The game is tied at 10. Here's Bowie from the other side. Well, he's had the touch. He's hit 3 out of 3. Anthony Bowie, who has lived out of a suitcase his entire professional career. He's been around, originally a 3rd-round pick of Houston. He's also seen service with the Nets, San Antonio, a little CBA on the side. Orlando with a 12-10 lead. Skiles blown by Rivers.
Doc Rivers, who for years ranked very high in steals in that guard position, has a tendency to reach for the basketball rather than move his feet and stay in front of it. If you reach on a point guard that's got the savvy and the ball handling ability, the reach by Rivers, he misses. The easy score by Scott Skiles.
Orlando on a 10-4 run. They lead by 4.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Orlando Arena. I'm Ahmad Rashad, along with one of the young guns of this Orlando Magic team, Dennis Scott. Dennis, you have a bad Achilles and a bad calf. How long will you be out?
I think about another week and a half now. I think last week I tried to come back too early. I wasn't 100%, so now I'm just trying to keep doing my workouts, doing my therapy, and get ready for next week.
You are doing your work. See, every time I pick up a paper, they say maybe his weight is going because he's not been able to run.
Well, that's what everyone wants to think, but I know what I have to do to be a great player in this league. That's what I'm trying to do.
All right, good luck to you, man. All right, back to you, Mark.
Ahmad Dennis Scott, his 3rd NBA season out of Georgia Tech. He is the 3-point field goal specialist for the Magic. Rivers kept it alive, and Tolbert hustles it down. This is Bowie, played by Starks. Substitution for the Magic, Donald Royal Three-year man from Notre Dame has checked in for the first time. Now Bowie try to shake Starks off. Shot clock at 5. Here's Royal putting a move on Campbell, who just came on, and Royal hits on his first attempt. The Magic leading 16-10.
And that is not Royal's best thing that he does as far as trying to create something after he puts the ball on the floor. With him, it's the great first step, maybe the best first step in the NBA. The explosiveness, he gets to the free throw line for opportunities.
Back comes Skiles. The Knicks have now missed 7 of their last 8 from the field. We come up on 2 minutes remaining in this opening quarter. Royal looking to go to the step, but he was played by Campbell protecting the baseline. Here's Tolbert. Rebound, Kite. Now Greg Kite has come on and done a nice job. Came out early for Shaquille O'Neal when Shaquille picked up his second. Nice ball movement. And the foul on Kite for taking Rivers down. Doc does have a tendency to give it that flare just to make certain the official notes the foul.
Well, because of his size and strength at the guard position, Doc Rivers likes to go down low and get a few rebounds. That time he was inside of Greg Kite. Kite thought he actually had gotten the ball over the top of Rivers without the contact, but it was the follow-through where the foul was called after pulling the arms down.
8-0 run by Orlando. And Starks was tied up.
You want to keep him away from getting that baseline. Bowie moving his feet well. That time gets hands in. The jump ball called.
The Knicks have hit only 5 of 18 from the field in this first quarter. We talked at the start about the terrific rise in shooting efficiency by the Knicks. Here's Royal, and he's blocked by Rivers. But to this point, the Knicks are back to their shooting ways of earlier this season. Pat Riley's club has won 7 straight. That's a season high, 11 of its last 12. The last time they won more than 7 in a row came when they won 9 straight back in December of 1989. The Knicks come into today 5 games in front of second place New Jersey, 6.5 over Boston, 8.5 in front of Orlando. Patrick Ewing sitting it out after collecting his second. Charles Oakley also has 2. Orlando 18, the Knicks 10. 10 unanswered points by the Magic, who now go to pressure.
Magic showing a 2-2-1 three-quarter court press. They'll try and get a trap after half court, and then sometimes they'll fake it, just fall back and match up. Here's the late trap.
And a leg violation, new 24 kicking violation on Royal, so the Knicks get the new 24. Campbell, Williams, Mason up front with Starks and Rivers in the backcourt. We are down to 1 minute remaining in this first quarter. They isolate, but Campbell can't put the move on Royal. Good play by Royal. Shot clock at 6. Here's Campbell getting inside.
Well, Tony Campbell has gotten his opportunities, and throughout the entire season, he's handled his position as professionally as you can ask. He comes out, he's the first player on the floor way before the rest of the team even gets here, taking his shot opportunities. He was a starter early, then put to the bench, and now back getting minutes on the floor.
Williams pass deflected. Good play by Bowie as the Knicks tried to break Skiles for 3. Skiles drills a three-pointer. Orlando with a 21-12 lead, 15 seconds to go in this first quarter.
And Orlando has a foul to give. They are not yet in the bonus, so you may see them give one here as the clock runs down.
Starks for 3. So he answers Skiles. 3 seconds remaining in the quarter. Here's Skiles. Knicks do not want a foul. And it's too late. They do not give it off. So the Orlando Magic, hearing it from the home crowd, without Shaquille O'Neal, who went to the bench early after collecting his second. The Magic in front of the Knicks after 1. 21-15. for the Magic in the first quarter with 7 points. We mentioned earlier he's been bothered by sore knees. He's been putting a lot of minutes in. He's averaged over 39 minutes per game. We talked about that with Scott.
I feel fine. I hurt my wrist in the Portland game about a week ago, but that didn't have anything to do with the minutes. You know, I'm not sure it's a situation where Matty thinks I'm that good, or if it's you ain't much, baby, but you're all we got kind of thing, you know. So I think he knows how hard I work in the summer to get ready, and he knows that I'm capable of handling it, so that's what he does.
Well, it is a concern, the backup point guard position. Trade talk still exists here that they're trying to get someone to bring in behind Skiles. They tried Laterio Green early in the year. They brought in Steve Kerr, but neither one have performed the way the Magic would have hoped.
Scott Skiles over the years has had a number of excellent games against the Knicks. Second quarter underway. Shot clock is down to 1. Tolbert got it off and rebounded by Campbell. The 15 points for the New York Knicks represents Orlando's best defensive quarter of the season, holding the Knicks to 15. Magic up by 6 points. Mason gets inside, and he was fouled. He was pushed. Anthony Mason to the line, hit by Tom Tolbert.
His first team foul.
Orlando tends to give up that inside block position a little bit too easily. You cannot stand directly behind a guy like Mason or Ewing or Charles Smith. They get so close to the basket, then you have problems deciding when to go up and try and block it. As a result, you send him to the free throw line.
Anthony Mason, 69% from the line for the season, and the Knicks are 0 for 4 from the foul line. Shooting in the first quarter, Knicks just 7 of 20. Orlando 8 of 20. The Magic reeling off a string of 10 consecutive points. They close the quarter with a 13-5 run. Royal spinning and fouled. Campbell tried to knock it away, but Donald Royal draws the foul.
Early in his career, Royal did not have the ability to pull back as he does right there to get back to the middle of the lane. His first step was so good, he would beat everyone off it. When you get a defender like Tony Campbell, who works hard and took away the baseline drive, the fact that now he's added that little pullback spin move, it's a big plus, obviously, for Royal.
Donald Royal spends much time at the free throw line. Anthony Bowie, who shot well, 3 out of 4 from the field, sitting down. Donald Royal signed as a free agent. He was overseas playing in Israel. Originally a 3rd-round draft pick of Cleveland. That was back in '87. Played the CBA. Had some playing time with Minnesota. Mason got inside and again drew the foul.
Foul number 5, Donald Royal.
Royal picks it up.
His first and second team foul. Anthony Mason at the line.
A little bit of football strategy taking place on that particular play for New York, like a misdirection play. They start the ball one way, you think it's going around the other way, yet they come right back again and wind up getting Mason sliding to the post. Start it one way, act like you're reversing it, come back the same way, where everybody on their team knows where it's going. The defense thinks they're trying to swing it to the other side.
Tom Tolbert sitting down, replaced by Terry Catledge. Pat Riley with football experience, and even though he did not play at Kentucky, he was drafted as a defensive back by the Dallas Cowboys. Using misdirection. Rivers with the steal.
Doc Rivers, as he does so well, playing the passing lanes, getting those hands out there for the steal.
And Kite rejects Mason. That was a nice move by Mason, but Kite was right there.
And I think the fans really appreciate the fact that with Shaquille going out so early, they've called on, the Magic have called on Kite to respond. He's done a real good job on the boards, and that time a little rejection.
Both Shaquille O'Neal and Patrick Ewing sitting out after picking up 2 fouls. Shaquille played only 3 minutes. Campbell and Royal snatches it. Stay right here, says Joe Crawford. He has called a loose ball foul on Greg Kite, and apparently Kite had something to say.
34, Greg Kite.
Joe Crawford had an answer. Kite commits his second.
Well, during earlier years in the league, officials would keep an eye on Greg Kite because at times he would become a little bit too aggressive with the arms, with the elbows, and since his minutes have been reduced, it's like they've kind of forgotten about him, the officials, but now, suddenly emerging early in the game, Joe Crawford remembered about it.
Campbell with a nice move. Campbell on the follow.
Tony Campbell.
The Magic 21, the Knicks 19. Tony Campbell with his second field goal. He has 4. Skiles and Royal in the backcourt. Anderson with Catledge and Kite up front. Here's Royal. Well, he's hit a couple of jump shots. Orlando 23, the Knicks 19. The Knicks and Orlando split their previous two meetings. The Knicks winning in New York 92-77 back in November. The Magic won here in early January by 4 points. Knicks have won 5 straight against Orlando. Herb Williams' shooting has been off recently. Williams again. A loose ball foul again called on Orlando. But in the past, even Orlando's early days, they provided problems for the Knicks.
A few moments ago, we talked about how Greg Kite tends to get a little aggressive sometimes. Well, when you use your forearm and put it on a player's chest like that, well, that's not that bad. You're allowed to do that. But when you get up and use the chokehold, folks, that's a no-no. You can't do that in the NBA.
Very fine usage of the telestrator by the Czar. Greg Kite, who came out early for Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille played only 3 minutes in the first quarter. Patrick Ewing played only 7, collecting the early fouls. Campbell getting inside as Orlando got caught on a switch.
You know, we talked earlier, why is New York's field goal percentage coming up? If you continue to execute your half-court offense as well as they are, screen where they are, and get the ball 3 feet from the rim, then your field goal percentage should be up.
The Knicks in the midst of a 9-2 run. Here's Anderson. He's fouled by Rivers.
What's happened to Orlando's offense is, with Shaquille being on the bench as much as he is, they're not getting those baskets that they normally get when teams double team down on Shaquille and he passes out for either open jumpers, or then the rest of the Magic are able to create off the dribble. So it really hurts your half-court offense when he has to sit this long.
And Matt Guokas and Pat Riley will have to make a decision shortly. When do you reinsert Shaquille and Patrick?
It's all dictated by the time remaining and the score on the board. You can't let the other team get away from you too far. You have to bring back your main guy. If you play him close and you're doing okay, well, then you let him stay on the bench for a while.
Campbell. Starks recaptures.
Remember, Pat Riley told us in the Chicago game, the Knicks hit the floor 29 times during that game. That's why they're bumped and bruised at this time.
And Nick Anderson with good hustle, but he deflected it out.
Shooting the gap, coming over the top of the screen. Nick Anderson gets the hand in the passing lane.
13 on the 24. Rivers and Starks at the guards. Williams up front along with Campbell and Mason. Doc Rivers to the fadeaway. The Magic 24, the Knicks 23. Skiles played by Starks. Well, Patrick Ewing about to make his return. Catledge did not like the hand check from Mason and lost it. Transition by Orlando as they get back. Battle between Royal and Campbell, and the foul charged to Campbell. That's his second.
A slimmed down version of Terry Catledge, not the one that you were used to seeing in Washington. This is the one that's dropped about 25 pounds, tries to back Mason down. Mason with the strong arm, swipe of the ball, no foul there.
Terry Catledge has not been getting the playing time this season, and has made the point on a number of occasions that he is very unhappy about it. Nice setup, though, from Catledge for Anderson.
Unlike a lot of teams, Orlando uses the 4 spot, the power forward position, to feed and make a lot of the entry passes. Their thinking is that Tolbert and Jeff Turner, who play that position a lot, are excellent shooters, so you can't back too far off.
Patrick Ewing, who just made his return, now 2 of 5 from the field. Patrick Ewing and Greg Kite have had a couple of preliminary bouts in the past. I want to point that out. Get the idea they are not the best of friends. That's an offensive foul. Rivers shaken up. Foul on Catledge, his first. Doc Rivers hurt his ankle in the game on Friday. That time looked to be a thigh. And now Steve Kerr, who has not been getting the playing time, will relieve Scott Skiles. So Matt Guokas will go with Kerr as the point guard, and he is more suited as a shooting guard.
The thought in getting Steve Kerr from Cleveland was that it would be one more guy along with Dennis Scott to really extend that defense. Three-point shooters who get way behind that line and open things up for the Shaq man. But because Laterio Green hasn't panned out, and they gave up on Chris Corchiani, who I think looking back on it now, they would like to have him back here. He is playing over in Italy at this moment. They need a guy who is a true point guard behind Skiles.
And the Knicks have brought on Hubert Davis, the rookie from North Carolina. Ewing, he's been off, and Kerr could not hold on. Hubert Davis, who has not been seeing playing time recently, coming on here late in the first half. On NBC, the NBA All-Star Game will be played in Salt Lake City, Utah. Look at the starting lineups and the reserves for the East. Pippen and Johnson up front. The reserves.
The Shaq Bag today is from Group School of Choice. Hope you're having a good time.
Patrick Ewing, Pat Riley representing the Knicks. And in the West, Malone, Barkley, Drexler, Robinson, and Stockton. And the West reserves, Coach Paul Westphal of the Phoenix Suns.
Mitch Richmond will be replaced on that West squad by Terry Porter. Richmond will have that thumb operated on, probably out 4 to 6 weeks.
Nice move by Ewing. Ewing with 6 points. He is 3 for 7 from the field. And the Magic leading 26 to 25. That call away from the ball.
Number 25.
As Shaquille O'Neal checks back in. Doc Rivers called for the foul. His third. So Shaquille for Greg Kite, who played most of the first half.
Now it's difficult to sit for 15 to 16 straight minutes, plus the timeouts and time in between quarters, and now have to come back and perform with 6+ remaining in the second quarter. We'll see how Shaquille loosens up how long it takes him to get back into the game.
And that is number 4 on Rivers. A reach-in call by Ron Garrison, and Rivers will depart.
An emphasis being placed on putting hands on people down in the low post area. They don't want you holding. That time Rivers goes for the swipe on the shot attempt. It's too much wrist and arm.
Now that could hurt the Knicks because Rolando Blackman is not available. He's out with a bruised right knee. That injury suffered in the game against the Bulls on Friday night. The Knicks are back now to Starks and Davis. That's why we're seeing Hubert Davis on the floor, because Blackman is out. Ewing with Smith and Mason up front. Here is Smith. Hits the open shot, and the Knicks take a 27-26 lead.
I'll tell you one guy who might be able to step up and help in that 2-guard position for New York is Tony Campbell. In talking to him prior to the game, he said, I'm happy I'm getting minutes. All my minutes have been at the small forward spot. We have a lot of 2-guards, but I think I could really help at that spot.
Here's Shaquille with the rebound and foul. Don Smith is first.
Foul number 54, Charles Smith.
Shaquille has to make a decision. How aggressive can he be? Well, he stays after it, gets a little luck of the bounce there, goes on up with it, but really doesn't explode to the basket because he didn't have the strong base.
Now Shaquille O'Neal's free throw shooting has been a weak part of his game, only 59% from the line. He comes in averaging 23 points a game. That's number 7 in the NBA. Second in rebound, just under 14 per game, but he goes 0 for 2 from the line.
But not surprising with the rookie in the NBA. Many rookies struggle from the free throw line once they come into the league. It's the ones that will continue to work on it, get their confidence back, feel a little more comfortable, that wind up improving.
Oh, what a move by Ewing, twisting his way. So Patrick Ewing showing signs. He now has 8 points. The Knicks lead 29-26. Knicks have outscored the Magic 14-5 here in the second quarter. And the foul on Smith once again. That's his second.
Ewing trying to get that next foul on Shaquille. Takes it right in there. Shaq extending that arm out, reaching for it. Could have easily picked up foul number 3, but instead misses. No contact. Ewing taking it strong to the basket, just as you would like him to do.
So Donald Royal on the line for a 5th and 6th time. He is 3 of 5 from the line. The Orlando Magic, 22 up, 22 down. They are 13-10 here at home. They have equaled their home win total of last year. While the Knicks have played well on the road recently after a bad start, they've won their last 4 and 6 of the last 8 away from Madison Square Garden. Smith got it out off the double team. Mason gets the new 24. Ewing lost the dribble. Good idea, though, to put the move on O'Neal. Knicks still have much time with the shot clock. Reach-in called on Anderson. Mason to the free throw line.
No question that time. Anderson got him across the arms. He knew it right away. Acknowledged Joe Crawford down on the baseline.
His first penalty situation.
It is contract negotiation time for Nick Anderson. Negotiations ongoing. It appeared to affect his play back in December, early January, but he has played extremely well in recent weeks. And last week he won Player of the Week honors. Nick Anderson in his 4th season out of Illinois. Here's Tom Tolbert back, replacing Terry Catlett. Anthony Mason on fire over the last 7 games during the course of the Knicks winning streak, shooting 61%, averaging 15 a game. The Knicks lead by 3 with 4.5 remaining in this first half. Low-scoring half. This game reminiscent of some of the Knicks played earlier this season. Here's Steve Kerr.
That's what they brought Steve Kerr in to do. When the double or triple teams take place on Shaquille, pass it out, pass it over, get Kerr spotting up. That's where he's most effective.
And Steve had been slumping recently. Prior to that shot, he hit only 5 of his last 17. Smith, rebounded by Shaquille with authority. Orlando with the ball. They're down by 1. Just under 4 minutes remaining. First half. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad from the Orlando Arena.
That time, John Starks got caught under the basket, not following his man. You must move with your man as he crosses the lane. You cannot hang at all on defense. That time, Starks' man cleared through. Starks hung for a little bit. Illegal defense call.
That is the warning. Here's Shaquille with the power move as Hubert Davis hit the deck. Patrick Ewing does not want to pick up his 3rd.
And there's no question that Orlando has made an effort to get the ball to Shaq every time down the floor in that low post area.
Orlando with a 1-point lead. Starks with 3. Rebounded by Tolbert. Here's Kerr. Tolbert. Nicely done. And Orlando has a 34-31 lead.
You can't ask for it any better than that. Run the floor, get one big man down, and hit the trail with a 4th man on the fast break, filling the lane.
8-2 run by the Magic. Ewing getting inside. Mason with the back tap. Here's Ewing with the pump on Royal. Yes. Orlando 34. The Knicks 33. Patrick Ewing has 10 points. Kerr guarded by the rookie Hubert Davis. Royal played by Smith. And a blocking foul on Smith. That's his 3rd. And Charles does not like the call with 2:34 remaining in this first half. Timeout has been called by Orlando.
Oh, Shaq's going to get his basket. Hubert Davis disappears underneath him, and then the fast break, cross it, fill the lane. Tolbert with the conversion.
The Prudential halftime report will take a look at some of the new faces who will be in Salt Lake City for next Sunday's All-Star Game. 6 players will make their first appearance, and Quinn Buckner will give us his analysis of the first half of the Knicks and Magic. We mentioned on the pregame show how the Knicks had been consistently scoring over the century mark. By our calculations, they would reach 100 today in about the 6th overtime. Right now, let's head back to Orlando and rejoin Marv Albert and Mike Fratello. Marvelous.
All right, Bob, yes, a 1-point Magic lead with 2:34 remaining in this first half. Stay with us at halftime. Bob and Quinn, along with Anna Storm. The Prudential halftime report. Donald Royal to the free throw line. He's 4 of 6 from the line. He's the high man for the Magic with 8 points. Patrick Ewing leading the Knicks with 10. Orlando not a good free throw shooting team. 72% for the season. That is the 4th worst in the league.
So here we have been talking before the game about how New York's offense has come alive suddenly. They're averaging almost 107 points per game. And now we have this low-scoring contest at the end of the second quarter. But we need to mention that in 2 games against Orlando, New York has averaged only 93 points.
And the foul is called. Ewing serving up a fake.
This is where the thought process must come in, and it will as he develops and gains some maturity in the league. Stay down here. Put your arms up. Patrick's got you deep enough where you're in trouble. Don't leave your feet and go for the pump fake. Stay down. Keep a chest there. Instead, Shaquille, so anxious to block it or change Patrick's shot, picks up his 3rd foul.
Patrick Ewing making his first appearance at the foul line. Greg Kite returns. Shaquille O'Neal, 2 out of 5. 4 points, only 2 rebounds, and limited playing time. The Knicks are 4 for 10 from the line. Orlando 35, the Magic 34.
Are they playing against themselves? Orlando against the Magic?
I should say the Knicks 34. Nice off. Just testing you. Here's Kerr feeding out to Tolbert. And a foul is called.
Foul number 44.
Let's go back a few moments ago. Sometimes you catch a break. Shaquille makes his move. Ewing goes down out of sight. And maybe, you know, out of minds of the officials. But look at the bottom of the screen. Suddenly an arm will come up as Shaq brings it down. There, you will see an arm grab the Shaq man as he goes up. That's Patrick Ewing fouling him. But nobody sees him. So play resumes and the foul is given to someone else.
And Steve Kerr at the line. He was fouled by Hubert Davis. Orlando with a 2-point lead. Magic by 3 with just under 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Hubert Davis, the Knicks' #1 draft pick out of North Carolina, was receiving the playing time earlier in the year when Rolando Blackman was sidelined with a back problem. Starks lost it.
Sometimes you just tell players, keep it simple. John Starks trying to go through his legs that time. No need for it. Just get the basketball where it's supposed to without putting too much mustard on it.
Matt Gukas has Kerr and Royal at the guards. Tolbert up front with Kite and Anderson.
Another thing you notice that Matt Gukas is buying minutes on the bench for Scott Skiles because of 2 back-to-back 48-minute games, knowing he may need him for the entire second half stretch run.
Foul number 3, John Starks.
John Starks called for a block.
His first penalty situation.
It's the cleaning up of the bumping, the holding that most people complain about against New York's defense. That time, the hips in, the foul call.
Nick Anderson to the line. He's 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Both clubs struggling at the foul line. Here's Greg Anthony for Hubert Davis.
Your substitution number
and
50.
The Knicks find themselves shorthanded in the backcourt.
Get the sweat, please.
Doc Rivers has 4 fouls. Rolando Blackman is out with a knee injury. So Anthony is back. Anthony and Starks now playing at the guards.
And a player who has been activated on the Knicks roster who could play a little bit of big guard or small forward is Bo Kimball, back with the team again.
Yes, Bo making his return last week after sitting out with a hip injury. Became an immediate favorite at the guard for a blowout against Houston. That was his first game as a New York Knick. Ewing off the double team, gets it out. Here's Oakley, who just checked back in. And back comes Kerr. 1 minute remaining, first half. Steve Kerr using the pick from Greg Kite. Loose ball foul And it's on Kite.
Sometimes you get yourself where you're not used to being. That time, Kerr got himself in the lane after a good screen by Kite. But then when you get there, what do? If you're Michael Jordan, you know what to do when you get there. Steve Kerr is more used to stand still, spot up, jump shots. Kite, who's called for the foul, just decides he's going to shove Anthony out of the way. The foul called.
And the crowd reacting with Brian Williams, so over-anxious to get in the ball game, he ran onto the floor before he reported to the scorer's table, just as Greg Anthony was about to shoot the free throw.
Well, the ball was already in Greg Anthony's hands, but as you mentioned, the excitement, the reception by the crowd, Brian Williams just wanted to get out there and get a taste of the action.
Greg Kite picked up his third, he sits down. And a warm greeting from this capacity crowd for Brian Williams. As we mentioned earlier, he was hospitalized during the summer due to diagnosed clinical depression. Second-year player out of Arizona who played very well at the end of last season. Off the steal. Here's Williams ahead of the field. Anderson keeps it alive. And back comes Starks. 35 seconds to go in the half. Starks with the head fake. Pumps it out to Anthony. The Knicks have 12 on the 24. Down to 20 seconds in the second quarter. Knicks down by 3. Anthony. Williams nearly tipped it in and then rebound. Here's Royal. Final seconds of the half. Kerr with the pull-up. Yes. Orlando 39. The Knicks 34. Last second shot by Starks. A low-scoring first half here in Orlando. Neither club shooting well. Both Shaquille and Patrick Ewing in foul difficulty. Orlando by 5. Bob Costas coming up back in the studio in a moment.
Not the quarter, halftime. The Magic over the Knicks, 39-34. Your analysis, sir?
Ugly. No, just not very good offense. But we talked about Charles Smith. He's 1 of 5, and he hadn't gotten into the game offensively. And without him, they just don't do very well. Tony Campbell came off the bench. But as I said before, if Charles Smith doesn't play well offensively, they don't have a very good chance to be successful. This is an 82-game season. This is a process. This is a long process. This is a bad game for the Knicks.
Ewing and O'Neal both picking up a couple of quick fouls, but O'Neal with 3 fouls at the half and just 4 points.
You know, O'Neal, that's going to be a real important point for him to learn. I don't care how great you are. Your greatness can only be established when you stay on the court. I know he's young, but the sooner he learns that, the quicker the Orlando Magic become a good team.
Well, an expansion team like Orlando that has become a good team would be in good playoff position if the playoffs were to start today is Charlotte. They're 4 games over 500 entering today's game against the Pistons and obviously about to make their record 26-21. They explode with 68 first-half points. That's the halftime score, 68-49. Alonzo Mourning has 17 points. The Pistons, with Dennis Rodman having his personal troubles, have dropped 11 of their last 14. The Hornets, meanwhile, have won 6 of their last 7. After the Knicks and the Magic, we have golf from Palm Springs, 5th and final round of the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic. Some good names on the leaderboard, and with a quick update, here's Charlie Jones. Charles?
All right, thank you, Bob. Not only good names on the leaderboard, we have absolutely great weather. Atop the leaderboard, Tom Kite, and he started off this morning just like he finished yesterday if you were watching on the telecast. This is at the par 4 opening hole, 427 yards, and this is his second shot, just like throwing darts at a dartboard. He set up this birdie putt and then calmly rolled it in. That took him to 26 under par. He added birdies at the 2nd and the 6th. Freddie Couples has a pair of birdies. He is among those chasing Tom Kite. Here is the leaderboard. Tom Kite, Rick Fair, Fred Couples, Jay Haas, Keith Clearwater, and Scott Simpson along with Bob Estes. And speaking of Bob's, let's go back to Bob Costas.
All right, Charlie, and come to think of it, the Knicks with a fine score at the turn. If this were their 9-hole result, they'd be about 2 under par, but they have 34 and they trail by 5 at Orlando, 39-34. Enough of this side-splitting levity. When we come back, Hannah Storm joins us with a look at next Sunday's All-Star Game. That's after a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. Hannah Storm joins us now, and she has her eye on next Sunday's All-Star Game, 6 o'clock Eastern Time from Salt Lake City.
Lots of new faces in this one, Bob. No Magic, no Bird. In fact, for the first time ever, no Laker or Celtic. But what the 43rd annual NBA All-Star Game does have is 6 first-time players. The infusion of these players suggests that the game in Salt Lake City may be a symbolic passing of the torch to some of the game's brightest new stars. They are the faces of a new order, emerging from the shadows of the game's giants to join its elite, usher in their own era, and herald the future.
O'Neal runs the floor, takes it all the way.
20-year-old Shaquille O'Neal becomes the 14th rookie selected to start an NBA All-Star game, and the first since Michael Jordan in 1985, forcing 3-time starter Pat Ewing into an unfamiliar role.
I think I'm a new breed of 7-footer because when you look at most 7-footers, they have bad knees. They can't run, and they can't do certain things. And I can do a lot of things. I can run, I can dive on the floor, have a beautiful smile, see.
Johnson.
Joining Shaq on the front line is Hornets forward Larry Johnson. Benefiting from Charles Barkley's move west, he earns a spot on the Eastern Conference starting lineup.
We get some new breed of players coming in and some new rising stars. So, you know, Magic and Bird and those guys open the door and make this league what it is today. It's up to us to continue to try to improve it.
In his 8th NBA season, the Pacers' Detlef Schrempf becomes the first European player to be named an NBA All-Star.
The league has gotten faster. You know, basketball is played higher, and it's just changed a little bit. And I think the you know, the older players kind of just move on, and that's how it's been going the last couple of years.
Exploding onto the All-Star scene is the Sonics' high-flying forward Shawn Kemp, the 23-year-old who jumped right out of high school and into the NBA.
It shows you that the NBA is improved with younger players that have improved themselves, and it shows you that it's expanding, not just the same players that are getting into the All-Star game.
Spurs forward Sean Elliott is on the verge of realizing his enormous potential. He's a first-time All-Star along with Clippers forward Danny Manning.
I'm sure a lot of people still like to see Magic and Bird out on the court, but I think the players that are coming into the league now are probably a little bit more athletically gifted and can go out on the court and take over a game athletically.
These new All-Stars may not be from the traditional NBA powers, but their names will be on the marquee alongside Jordan, Barkley, and the rest.
There is always going to be somebody that's going to replace the great ones, and that's what this league is about. So the All-Star games are being taken over by newer players, by youth, and that's the way it is.
I think one of the most interesting first-time players is Drazen Petrovic, the first European to play in the All-Star game.
No,
you consider
Detlef Schrempf.
It's Detlef Schrempf. Right. Drazen Petrovic, who should have made it and probably could have made this, who played on the Croatian national team. We have Detlef Schrempf, who played on the German national team this summer in Barcelona. So we're seeing a lot of European stars and players from around the world become eligible for All-Star status. So perhaps in the future, this will become more of an international event, not simply the best players in this country, but literally the best players in the world playing in the All-Star game.
Well, what I like about it is that at some point you get a chance to see all of the great players. You know, you talk about guys not making it. I think Kenny Anderson had a good year. I like Alonzo Mourning. Now, he's a first-year player. He came in late. But eventually, like Pat Riley says, it all starts to change. You'll see some of the new players. And I like that transition because I think, quite frankly, it's time. I mean, Michael Jordan's going to play regardless of the circumstances. But when you lose Michael, lose Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, it's time to replenish the stock, and that's what you're seeing.
Occasionally you get an All-Star vote that's really more of a lifetime achievement award, like Isaiah Thomas, and that's what keeps a Drazen Petrovic off this year. And you could make a case that Derek Coleman has had a better season head-to-head against Dominique Wilkins, let's say, but Dominique obviously has the reputation that could someday take him to the Hall of Fame, and that's why Coleman doesn't make it this time.
Exactly. This is a cumulative effect. If you have one good year, people need to see you 2 times to make sure that you just didn't have a great year and that it carries on more than once. That's always been the case in All-Star games.
It's also nice to see players from the non-traditional NBA powers joining this year's squad. Mitch Richmond obviously isn't playing because of injury, but you have the Sacramento Kings, the Clippers, the Pacers, the 2 expansion teams, and that can only help the league in terms of competitive balance to have these superstars spread throughout the league.
Okay, time for us to step aside, and we'll get back for the second half of the Knicks and the Magic. Marv Albert and Mike Fratello will rejoin us after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. In a changing world, one thing remains rock solid: the Prudential.
Back at Orlando, we head to the third quarter with the Magic leading the Knicks 39-34. Marv Albert with the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello, along with Ahmad Rashad, and the half of our entire staff, although actually there are 2 or 3 who don't want to go along with this, but happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day.
To the czar. A low-scoring first half. Neither club shot well. Shaquille O'Neal in foul difficulty, seeing only limited time in that opening half.
Talk about limited. How about just 8 minutes, 4 points, 2 rebounds, and interesting that Orlando would lead with him out because the Shaq man is so important down low in starting their half-court offense. When the ball goes into him, not only does he draw the attention of his defender, but he brings other defensive players into the picture as well. The triple team taking place, and as a result, once he gets triple team, if he can pass out of there, all you have to do is find an open spot and then move to it, and good things are going to happen. These easy scores have not come for Orlando because Shaquille has been on the floor just 8 minutes.
And the stat line, Shaquille O'Neal 2 of 5, only 4 points, only 2 rebounds. Right here, let's go to Ahmad with Orlando coach Matt Dukas.
All right, Marv, thanks. Matty, you were able to maintain a first-half lead with Shaq on the bench. How'd you do that?
Well, I don't know. They didn't shoot the ball very well. Neither did we. Maybe it's going to be the first team to 80, but I think you have to credit both teams for playing good, hard, tough, aggressive defense.
Your team especially, so holding them to 34 points in the first half.
It is, and again, they've been struggling a little bit with their outside shooting. They always play good defense and are trying to run from that. You know, where the game, Ahmad's going to be won is underneath the backboards at both ends.
All right, good luck to you in the second half.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Marv.
All right, Ahmad, 34 points by the Knicks in the first half. That is the lowest half against Orlando this season. We'll be back with the second half in a moment. Back in Orlando, the Magic 39, the Knicks 34 here at today's Miller Genuine Draft halftime stats. The Knicks shooting only 33% on 14 for 42. Orlando at 14 of 33, just 42% from the field, so neither club burning it up. And both teams struggling at the free throw line. Look at that. Knicks 5 of 13, and Orlando 10 for 18 from the line. A look at the leading scorers. Patrick Ewing picked up the 2 fouls early, then returned and ended up with 11 points for the half. Donald Royal leading Orlando with 9. Shaquille O'Neal with just 4 points. So the second half underway. Skiles showing us a hook shot.
The guy who will have to step up and have a much better second half is the man with the basketball right now, Greg Anthony, playing only 9 minutes, had no personal foul, scored 2 points. I expect to see him out on the floor quite a bit more here in the second half.
John Starks, who shot only 2 of 8 in the first half, now has 7. Orlando leading by 3. Scott Skiles loses to Charles Oakley, and then Skiles commits the foul. Oakley with the steal. It will be Nick Ball.
Skiles looking to make the pass, took his eye off the defensive player for a second, who was Oakley. The foul is taken by Skiles to eliminate the fast break opportunity, which was right there out in front of him.
The Knicks open this second half with Greg Anthony and John Starks in the backcourt. Patrick Ewing, Charles Smith, Charles Oakley. Starks recovers. And the rebound swept by Shaquille O'Neal. Anthony Bowie Up front, along with Tolbert and O'Neal, Skiles, and Anderson at the guards. Here's Bowie.
I don't know whether it's by design or happenstance, but both pick and rolls by Orlando have been set. The screen has been set by Tolbert, hoping that Ewing would have to rotate to him on the roll. That would leave O'Neal open on the offensive boards.
The Knicks move within 1. 13 for Ewing. The Knicks with only 15 points in the first quarter. At a defensive season low from the Orlando point of view. The Knicks with only 19 points in the second quarter. Anderson for Tolbert. Well, Tom Tolbert had the hot hand in the loss to Charlotte the other day. Hit 9 of 10 for 18 points in the first half of play. Ewing feeling around for O'Neal. Rebound Skiles.
Here's one of those times we talked about earlier in the first half that O'Neal stayed down. He didn't really challenge Ewing that time. He just kept his body between Patrick and the basket. Ewing missed the shot.
Shaquille. He had the excellent position but could not convert. Starks. He thought he was fouled. He thought Bowie got a piece of the hand. Orlando with the ball. They lead by 3. 2.5 gone by in the third. Anderson penetrated. And Ewing with his 8th rebound.
That's 2 shots. The one by O'Neal, the one by Anderson that are right there. Look like they're going to be sure scores, but they don't convert.
Another Knick turnover. And Scott Skiles calling out a play. Orlando Magic with a record of 22 and 22. The 22 victories, more than all of last season. Shaquille O'Neal way off. And a foul call on Nick Anderson.
25, Nick Anderson. His second.
Shaq actually gets the ball in good position to start out with, but then when he takes that big drop step, he finds himself behind the backboard. He has to reverse pivot just to be able to get a look at the rim. Not a real strong base or a good shot that time for Shaquille.
And the Magic have missed 9 of the last 11 shots. That goes back to the second quarter. John Starks has not been able to find the range. Smith with the hustle. Comes back to Starks. Has a 3-pointer. And Smith knocks it out of bounds. It has been one of those halves for the New York Knicks who went through this on a consistent basis earlier in the season. But recently they have been hitting their shots.
Well, on the way back down the floor, as Tolbert tees it up from the top of the circle, just a little bit short. On the way back down, Greg Anthony looked at Starks and pointed to Ewing as if to say, get the ball down low to the big guy. Let's get him involved in the offense.
Shaquille playing with 3. Nice fake. Yes. Patrick Ewing with 15 points. Orlando leads by 1. And a timeout taken by Matt Gukas.
22nd timeout, Orlando.
7:55 remaining in the third quarter. That's a 20-second timeout taken by the Magic.
Patrick gives the fake and gets Shaq up, but Shaq doesn't overcommit. Keeps his space between him. Still gets a chance to challenge, but when Ewing turns to that baseline, it's almost automatic for him. Many teams don't want him turning baseline. They want to bring him back to the middle of the floor where they can get help with a double team from the top or the next closest player.
Patrick Ewing headed to his 7th All-Star game. To this point, he has clearly outplayed Shaquille O'Neal. Although Patrick has not admitted it publicly, those around him have said that his pride was hurt by the relegation to the substitute role on the All-Star team. And his numbers have been up since the announcement of Shaquille starting was made.
It's a discussion that the Orlando Magic had with Shaquille, the pride factor in Patrick Ewing and how he come out ready for today's game.
Nick Anderson has 7 points. Orlando leads by 3. Smith getting position. Good play by Anderson to knock it away. 3-on-2. Anderson is fouled by Anthony.
Starts out by Nick Anderson getting the good hands down in the low blows. He's dead right here. Charles Smith too deep, but he saves it by getting the hand in for the swipe. You got to come up with the basketball, and then numbers on the fast break for Orlando.
Well, Nick Anderson now 2 for 5 from the line. He's a 71% free throw shooter. Orlando 45, the Knicks 40. The Knicks at 32-15. They have the best record now in the Eastern Conference. A half game in front of the Bulls, who lost last night at home, losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Here's Smith. O'Neal with the rebound. So the poor Knick shooting continues. 5 minutes gone by in the third. The alley-oop did not work. Shaquille tried to direct it. The Knicks still shooting at a 33% clip. Smith taking advantage of the overplay and the mismatch. Anderson went for the steal.
The Knicks do an excellent job of feeding their post people. They read which way the defense is coming. They keep the basketball away from the defensive player, and the person that is posting up does a good job of holding off, keeping his ground.
Tom Tolbert. The Knicks not respecting the outside range of Tolbert, who does have a good touch.
That's why I mentioned earlier that Matty Grukas uses the 4-spot power forward position to feed Shaquille many times.
Bowie with the steal, 2-on-1. Bowie fumbled it. Skiles fouled by Smith. That is number 4 on Charles Smith, and a timeout called by Orlando.
Scott Skiles has no fear. The swipe takes place. They get off on the fast break. Anthony Bowie, not used to handling the ball that much in the open floor, fumbles it. Actually has a chance to spin back to the baseline for a score, but Skiles takes it right into the heart of the Knicks defense and puts foul number 4 on him.
A reminder, stay tuned to NBC Sports for live final round coverage of the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic. The man to catch, Tom Kite. No relation to Orlando's Greg Kite. Tom 28 under, 3 strokes in front as they compete for over $1 million in prize money. The Bob Hope Chrysler Classic, that's next, right here on NBC.
I have never been invited to the Bob Hope Classic. I'm very, very concerned about that.
Speak to this man. That's Greg Kite, of course.
Wait, don't talk to me about getting confused on things.
Orlando with a 47-42 lead with 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter. And in the third quarter, Charlotte leads Detroit 72-54. Charlotte has won 2 straight in third in the Central, 6 games behind first place Chicago. The Magic by 7. Anthony Mason has replaced Charles Smith, Greg Anthony, and John Starks in the backcourt. Here's Anthony. That's his second field goal. He has 4. The Magic by 5.
Pat Riley made a good point before the game. Early in the year, everyone was trying to make Greg Anthony make shots because they just felt he couldn't make an open jumper. Pat Riley felt the reason was that he was so wide open that when he would miss 1 or 2, it just looked worse than it really was. He has much more respect for the shot than people give Greg Anthony.
I think it kind of looked as bad as it. Yes, we saw it, Mike. I think Pat was being very diplomatic. Also, Greg had trouble finishing off shots, and he has been doing that recently. Had a 6-for-6 game the other night against Houston. Oh, what a shot by Anderson. Quick release by Nick Anderson, who now has 11. Orlando leads 51-44. The problem with Greg Anthony earlier, and he has certainly played well recently. Ewing thought he was fouled, no call. Tolbert goes down. And now foul is called. Away from the ball, it's on Oakley.
there are three things that happen to Shaquille O'Neal down in the low post. One is he gives up the post position too easily. The second thing is he allows the player to come to the middle too many times. Ewing gets middle right there. He just doesn't get the ball up over the front of the rim.
And another Knicks steal. Ewing for Starks, putting the move on Bowie. And John Starks called for a technical. Well, John Starks with a display that was not accepted.
Well, if you go back to the first half, it's the second time that John Starks has reacted to the official. Earlier in the first half, he felt he was fouled on the baseline in front of the Orlando bench. This time, on the move to the basket, he felt he should have been awarded the free throws. Actually, a little bit of frustration setting in right now for the Knicks and John Starks in particular.
Can't do that. That's an embarrassment in the face of the official, Joe DeRosa. And the Magic by 10.
Nice play by Scott Skiles. He goes right back at John Starks, hoping perhaps to put another foul on him because he might have been a little bit too emotional.
Well, what John Starks is frustrated about is 3 of 14 from the field. He's missed his last 5. Getting back to the subject of Greg Anthony, the problem earlier in the season, Tolbert called for the foul, was the shot selection. Greg looking more for his shot than looking to set up his teammates, which is not the mentality you want at the point guard position. But he's changed his game, and he's done a good job in recent weeks. Starks. Rebound Oakland. Oh, what a pass for Ewing.
A no-look pass by Charles Oakley on a ball that happened to rebound out long. He knew exactly where Ewing was, fired it over his shoulders.
Orlando with an 8-point lead, just under 4 minutes remaining, third quarter. Gilbert Davis getting set to come on for the Knicks. They isolate Anderson with Mason. Mason posting up. Shaquille O'Neal came over.
Well, when you don't know that that guy's coming from behind you, it's a big problem. That time, Mason felt he had Tolbert as low as he wanted, but Shaquille from behind with the clean block. A lot of space between that.
Knicks with 15 on the shot clock. Shaquille with his first block of the game. Anthony around Skiles, who fell down. Nice move by Greg Anthony. Orlando 54, the New York Knicks 48.
That last play reminded you a little bit about like last week when Skiles playing defense let KJ turn the corner and go baseline. It was foul number 6 on Shaquille trying to cover for him.
Skiles, 12 for Scott Skiles. The Magic 56, the Knicks 48.
Skiles has played so well, and believe me, part of it is the confidence factor. If you go back a season or 2 ago when Sam Vincent was here, they were basically splitting the games. Skiles was actually booed when he came on the floor here because the fans thought Vincent should be playing, but since it's been his basketball, his show, he's played terrific basketball.
And he finishes off the steal. They are on their feet in Orlando as the Knicks call for time. Orlando now up by 10.
In the first half, Matt Lucas was able to keep Skiles on the bench. He only had 17 minutes of playing time after back-to-back 48-minute games. Right now, anticipating the fact that he's there for the remainder of this game, he's having quite a third quarter. Just can't let this play go unnoticed. Charles Oakley gets the long rebound, and he knows Ewing's on the baseline. Will he find him? No question about it. Just ask Charles. Oakley with the assist to Patrick Ewing.
If you got that question correct, listen to the coaches calling show.
Well, the Orlando Magic extending to a 10-point lead. It's their biggest lead of the game, and they have done it for the most part without Shaquille O'Neal, who has not been a factor. The tip by Oakley. Shaquille with limited playing time in the first half, only 8 minutes because of the foul trouble. He's still hanging on with 3, but only 2 of 7 from the field, 4 points, 4 rebounds.
It's just his presence out there, and he's done a much better job here in the second half of keeping his feet on the ground and a little space between Ewing so he's not picking up those cheap fouls.
Shot clock at 4. Tolbert forcing. Now Hubert Davis and Greg Anthony at the guards. Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason up front. Mason backing Tolbert. Ewing, yes. Strong move by Ewing. He has 19. The Knicks trail by 6.
Not really sure that Orlando wants to play Patrick Ewing straight up, but if the double team is supposed to come, it has to get there a little quickly, a little more quickly.
Again, Tolbert is open. He is 3 for 9. Mason could not do it off the dribble. Knicks regroup. Ewing from way out. Yes! Patrick Ewing has cut it to a 4-point Orlando lead. And we get an official timeout. Apparently they readjusted the clock. 6 consecutive points by the Knicks. Now 1 minute remaining in the third quarter. And a timeout taken by the Orlando Magic. 55 seconds to go in the third quarter. Orlando has led by as many as 10, and they have led most of the way. A reminder, next Sunday evening, the world's greatest athletes will get together at the NBA All-Star Game in Salt Lake City. Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal, Patrick Ewing. It'll be East and West, a primetime All-Star bonanza. That's next Sunday at a special time, 6 p.m. Eastern on NBC from Salt Lake City. Patrick Ewing now the high man for the Knicks, 21 points, 10 in the third quarter, has 10 rebounds. The Knicks shooting only 34% from the field in the first half. They've picked it up here in the third quarter.
We mentioned back earlier in the third quarter that Greg Anthony signaled his teammates, gave them the direction to get the ball down low. They've responded. Patrick Ewing has responded.
We mentioned Shaquille O'Neal will be on hand at the All-Star game. He'll be the first rookie starter in All-Star competition since 1985 when Michael Jordan got the nod. Look at these names as we go back a few years joining this list. And it's a very select list of rookies who started in the All-Star game. Jordan started in '85. That's the game where reportedly Michael was frozen out by Isaiah Thomas.
Well, we know that that's been put to rest.
Oh, yes.
No truth to that.
Of course. And Shaquille starting next Sunday. Let's go over to Ahmad.
All right, Marvin, speaking about that All-Star game, I asked Shaq about it before the game, and he said one thing that he's really excited about, besides the All-Star game, he will be making his debut on network television singing with, or rapping with Foo Schnickens. You know the group, don't you, Marv?
Yes, we look forward to that.
12 seconds to shoot.
12 on the 24. And Donald Royal just checked in, can't find anyone, and a 20-second timeout is taken.
20-second timeout.
So Matt Gukas will talk it over. Royal could not inbound, did not want to get hit with a 5-second violation.
And that gets a little frustrating for a head coach that you must use not only a full timeout with under a minute remaining in the third quarter, but then because you can't get the ball inbounds after you draw something up on your board, you're forced to use your 20-second timeout. That's gone now for the remainder of the game.
Mike, earlier Tom Tolbert came over to chat and he said, you know, it's just amazing since he has come over to the Orlando Magic, the national exposure that this team has received. He just can't understand it. He said he's on television every week trying to put his finger on it. Originally a second-round draft pick of Charlotte, played 1 year for the Hornets, 3 years with Golden State, and then on to Orlando, and he's worked his way into the starting lineup.
Expecting to see his name on the marquee board outside.
Tom Tolbert has certainly had the shot opportunities today. He's 3 for 9 from the field. The Knicks, in doubling up, have allowed him to shoot from the corner, despite the fact that he had that hot game against Charlotte earlier in the week. 3 Arizona products on this Orlando squad.
Ryan Williams, Steve Kerr, and Tom Tolbert all played and representing the University of Arizona from the Pac-10. I was disappointed in the sad news coming out of the Pac-10 this week. Lou Campanelli, the head coach, released a statement being made that they want to go in a new direction. I wonder what the new direction is with a guy like Campanelli, who's done what he has for that program.
Oh, an editorial commentary here.
Well,
moving to the college ranks.
I do a little bit of everything for you, sir.
Yes, you do. 12 on the shot clock. Bowie gets it down low to O'Neal. Rejected by Ewing. Stopped again. Time winding down in the third quarter. 30 seconds remaining. Knicks trailing by 4. Mason pops it out. Ewing. Last touched by Tolbert. It will be Nick Ball.
When you talk about defense, it comes in different size, shapes, and forms, whether it's intimidation or whether it's actually getting a piece of the basketball to block it. It reduces field goal percentage by your opponents.
Well, the Knicks went for the basket right at the start of the possession. Bowie. And Oakley fires one. As time runs out in the third, after 3 in this low-scoring affair, it's the Magic 58, the Knicks 54. Patrick Ewing, 21 points, 10 rebounds, holding on with 2 fouls. Shaquille O'Neal did not pick up a foul in the third. He has 3, but only 4 points for Shaquille. We'll be back after these messages and a word from your local station.
Magic running to the WKCF 218 on Tuesday. The Magic plays the Detroit Pistons. Game time at 7:30. That's every basket at WKCF.
68-degree day in Orlando, Florida. And the Magic with a 58-54 lead on the New York Knicks as we head to the fourth quarter. Marv Albert with the czar of the telescope, Mike Fratello. Patrick Ewing stuffing it home. He now has 23, and the Knicks are within 2. The Knicks 10 of 26 from the field. In the third quarter, 38%. Orlando 7 for 20, 35%. So both clubs continue to struggle, although the Knicks did hit, at least for, and everything is relative for today's game, a hot streak at one point in the third. Anthony played by Skiles. Mason, who handles the ball so well for a big man, goes to the fadeaway. Rebounded by Royal.
Orlando just can't find a way to come up with an easy basket. They need either a stop or reject by Shaquille to get him out on a fast break, get a score that way, or perhaps even an offensive rebound will turn it around.
Shaquille getting position down low. Ewing received help. And Oakley was called for the foul. That's 4 on Charles Oakley.
Well, if you work for good body position, you get yourself close enough to the basket, and you hold off the defensive player trying to come over the top, then it produces easy scores for Ewing and the Knicks.
Again, the double team forced O'Neal into the bad pass. The other game going this afternoon, fourth quarter, Charlotte with a 15-point lead on Detroit.
That last time down for Orlando, you saw the pass, the intent was good, the execution was poor. You can't pass into the knees of your teammate.
Davis got trapped, Skiles with the steal. Royal was stopped. Good play. Anthony and Mason getting back, although the crowd was looking for a reach-in foul.
Well, here's almost the transition score that we talked about that meeting. What they want is the call with the hand on the shoulder where the foul took place.
Minute 40 gone by in the fourth quarter. And Shaquille O'Neal lost it.
Second turnover in a row by Shaquille. One trying to pass to an open teammate, second one trying to split a double team. The combination of Shaquille and Skiles may lead the NBA in combined turnovers. That's why the team, the Magic team, is so high in the league in turnovers per game.
That was rebound number 14 for Oakley. It was fouled by Tolbert.
Nowhere to go. Shaq still tries to force his way through, loses the handle on the ball. Why are Shaquille's turnovers so high? Because he sees double and triple teams night in, night out, and they're forcing him to make decisions with the basketball against athletes that are much bigger and stronger than he was used to facing in college.
Charles Oakley, only a 66% free throw shooter, has had a very solid game. Had 2 key field goals down the stretch in that Knicks victory over the Bulls on Friday night. It's 1 out of 2 to bring the Knicks within 1. I mentioned the 14 rebounds by Oakley, 5 off the offensive boards.
Well, that's why the Knicks have the advantage in field goal opportunities. If you get a whole lot of other shots, extra shots, you're going to score more points eventually.
The outlet thrown away, and Orlando will get it back. Timeout taken. 9:46 to go in the game. The Magic with a 1-point lead.
Presents Genuine Moments.
Well, today's Miller Genuine Draft Miller Moment. A look back at Pat Riley, the player. Pat with a noticeable different look. He was a first-round pick of the San Diego Rockets, spent 3 seasons there, next 5 years with the Lakers. He averaged about 7 points per game on the 1971-72 NBA championship squad of the Los Angeles Lakers. In recognition of this moment, Miller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund.
I don't notice much difference at all.
No. Pat Riley, the 12th winningest coach in NBA history, has the best winning percentage in the history of the league among those who have coached at least 400 games. Jeff Turner, who checked in for the first time, able to rebound. Donald Royal gets to it, and Royal is fouled.
Well, that's the other way to get some easy points on the board. Fast breaks, offensive rebounds, get to the free throw line, and at least have a chance to make some foul shots. If you can't knock down your jumpers, if you can't knock down your follow-up layup attempts, keep working hard. Some good things will happen eventually. New York taking advantage of the offensive boards early. Now Orlando coming back out, getting some easy second and third shot opportunities.
Ewing called for his third. Royal 6 for 9 from the foul line. Orlando 59, the Knicks 57.
Matt Gukas making a nice move because the Knicks defense is trying to smother Shaquille. He brings in Jeff Turner, who's shooting almost 55% from the floor, hoping that when the ball gets kicked out and they swing it around a little bit, that Turner would be the open man to take that shot.
Anthony setting up on Skiles. Knicks looking for the ball movement. Hubert Davis. Oh, Oakley grabbing another offensive rebound. Oakley is fouled. I don't know. Donald Royal raising his hand. Was it Donald or Shaquille? Let's see. Yes, it will be Royal going to Joe Crawford. He was very quick to get the hand up.
Well, Royal got the hand up right away, and as they come out after the whistle, Joe Crawford, the official, the foul taking place. Hand goes up right away. Joe Crawford, the official, is smiling, nodding, and saying, yes, 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 I know it was you. You don't have to try and help me.
What an effort off the boards by this man. Charles Oakley with 16 rebounds. But he's 1 for 3 from the line. Charles Oakley in his 8th season out of Virginia Union, acquired from the Chicago Bulls in the deal for Bill Cartwright after spending 3 years with the Chicago Bulls. The Knicks trail by 2. 9 minutes remaining in the game. Now Jeff Turner guarded by Charles Oakley. Here's Anderson. Nice back-in move. Anderson has 13.
In that time, Orlando created the isolation for Nick Anderson against John Starks. Nick Anderson, naturally a small forward coming out of college. A little bit bigger, stronger, comfortable around the basket.
Ewing. And Skiles gets to it. John Starks is back replacing Hubert Davis. Now Anderson being played by Oakley. Oakley has 4 fouls. Oakley with the steal, but off the leg of Mason.
Let's go back a moment ago to the isolation. The ball will be passed down low into Nick Anderson and then clear out and get out of there and let Anderson do his thing against a smaller John Starks. Get to the spot where you feel comfortable, then shoot over the top of the smaller opponent.
Orlando with the new 24. Skiles inbounds. Turner. Now Skiles for O'Neal. The first time we've seen the hook. And Shaquille. Really took the rim down with him. Anthony going all the way. And back comes Skiles. The Magic 62. The Knicks 58-7, 45 remaining in the game.
What actually happened that time is Orlando didn't get the floor balance that they wanted. Anthony Bowie, along with Shaquille, on the same side of the floor and gave Skiles no room to make something happen.
John Starks cannot buy one. Turner called for the charge. John Starks is now 3 for 16 in a ball game where the Knicks are in desperate need of an outside shot.
Well, Shaq, man, sometimes you miss and it looks, well, nice. Sometimes you miss and it looks a little bit ugly. The opportunity again for the second shot, but Shaq just can't put it down, but almost tears down another support.
Shaquille has missed his last 7. He is 2 for 12. One of his longest days as a professional. John Starks has missed his last 7. They get beat. And Shaquille O'Neal with the rebound. Royal tried to get it, but too late.
Shaquille was out in front of Ewing by 5 yards, just too late getting it to him.
And Starks hits on the drive. After missing 8 in a row, Starks converts to bring the Knicks within 2 points. Ewing jumping out, one for the steal. It was deflected to the backcourt by the Knicks, so no violation. Shot clock at 7. Again, Ewing steps out. Good pressure defense by the Knicks. Here's Turner. Mason with the inside position.
This is where the conditioning of New York takes its toll in the 4th quarter. In their minds and their heads, the Knicks feel that they are in the best condition of any team in the NBA. They come after you, they extend that defense, they put those big bodies on you, and eventually the opposition winds up missing a lot of shots.
Anthony. Rebound Ewing. Stolen by Anderson. And the foul committed by Starks.
And a good foul by Starks insofar as it took place in the backcourt, not after he had crossed the half-court line. It would have been 2 free throws. Instead, it's just ball out on the side.
Timeout has been called with 6 minutes to go in the game.
Ahmad Rashad back here in the Orlando Arena in the bowels of the building, actually, and it was because of dunks like this one. Watch this dunk by Shaquille O'Neal. Your best. This is against me. All you got?
Did it again, Ahmad. See ya. Chump. You're a chump. Why you ain't show up here anyway, chump? You scared of me or something? That's what I think it is, bro. I think you're scared of me. I'll talk to you later, bro. Peace.
As you can see, Shaquille O'Neal has a penchant for tearing down backboards. So the NBA came up with a rule saying that every arena should have another stanchion just in case Shaquille's in town and breaks the rim. This Orlando team has sent off for one. It takes 30 days to get here, but in the meantime, they have this wonderful basket just in case something happens out there. And another thing, Marv, I'm not a chump.
Well, I think that's open for further discussion.
Yeah, we can discuss that.
Yeah. 5:50 to go in this 4th quarter. Orlando with the ball. They lead the Knicks by 2. Foul called. Nick Anderson was hacked.
Number 3, John Starks.
John Starks called for his 3rd.
His 3rd, 14th foul.
And Anderson to the line. Anderson, Royal, Skiles, Turner, and O'Neal now on the floor for Matt Gukas.
As close as New York has come, and they keep coming after you, They try to wear you down. Orlando has had enough to hold them off and just maintain, albeit a slim lead, that lead that they have right now.
And they have been able to maintain the lead despite the most ineffective performance in this young NBA career of Shaquille O'Neal. He's 2 for 12 from the field. Ewing was fouled.
And not trying to make excuses for Shaquille, but one, he came into the game with the back sprain after the dunk in Charlotte. Secondly, he has been under the weather with the flu. In fact, prior to the game, Ewing makes the move, comes back. Turner right there. Thought he should have picked up the offensive foul, but instead the block is called. But to go back to Shaquille, prior to the game, he was in the trainer's room, laying out on the table, covered with blankets, okay, feeling the effects of the flu.
On the other hand, Patrick Ewing also bothered by the flu. Started slowly, but has come on. It's been a strong game for Ewing. He has 24 points. Orlando 63, the Knicks 61. 5.5 minutes to go in the game. Shot clock down to 8. Anderson off the dribble. Anderson rebounded by Smith. Starks getting down in a hurry. Changed his mind. He passed on the shot. Now, if he had the touch, he would have had no hesitation, and he would have pumped it. But he's been way off. Starks for 3. Yes. John Starks with a 3-pointer, and the Knicks have taken a 1-point lead.
I disagree with what you said last time. I don't think he would have just pumped it. He was waiting for the right moment to get the open shot so he could knock it down.
It was a plan. You're right. Orlando has missed its last 7 field goal attempts. Skiles for Turner. And Skiles gets back to it. Here's Royal. And it is a blocking foul charged to Smith. That's 5 on Charles Smith.
After moving the ball around a few times, left wide open, alone, feet set. Starks gets a clear look at the rim, knocks it down, and he's happy about it. He knows he's been struggling this afternoon from the floor.
The Knicks are now over the foul limit. Orlando has 3 team fouls. And once again, Donald Royal at the line. He is 8 for 11 from the free throw line. 82% foul shooter. He and Skiles and Bowie are the only Orlando Magic players over 80%. Orlando by 1. Anthony and Starks at the guards. Ewing, Smith, Mason up front. That pass thrown too strong. Ewing couldn't handle it. Here's Skiles. Skiles rejected by Smith. 3 on 2 the other way. Anthony from Mason. And he is crushed. Foul number 31 by Jeff Turner.
His third, 14 foul.
This is where you want the guard to make the decision. Do you take it all the way? Do you pull up and shoot the jumper? Or do you make the pass? That time, Skiles elects to take it all the way to the basket. Smith, too big, too much athleticism there for him to get a clear shot at the basket.
Mason 5 for 7 from the line. Game tied at 65. 4:06 remaining, fourth quarter. The Knicks lead by 1. The Knicks have won 7 in a row. That's a season high. They've won 11 of the last 12. They lead the Atlantic Division. Record of 32 and 15. And a foul called on the Knicks. That's number 4 on Patrick Ewing.
And Skiles isn't going to take a chance. He fires his pass into the post-up area, knowing that he only might have a split second to find Shaquille wide open. The screen along the baseline frees up Shaquille for a split second, then he's going strong to the basket.
Shaquille only a 59% free throw shooter. He's now 1 for 3 from the line. Here's Tom Tolbert for Jeff Turner. The game tied at 66. Only 5 points for Shaquille O'Neal. He's 2 of 12 from the field and 1 of 4 from the line. Ewing putting the move on Shaquille. 26 for Patrick Ewing. The Knicks with a 2-point lead.
Ewing did a terrific job of putting the ball on the floor. He made Shaquille move his feet. Then when he went up for the shot, Shaquille still had that hand out there to get a piece. Ewing pulled it back, concentrated enough to still make it.
And it's knocked away. Ewing and Starks converging on O'Neal. Patrick Ewing does not want to pick up number 5. 7 on the shot clock. Shaquille playing with 3, Patrick with 4. Shot clock down to 3. Anderson. Last touch by Mason. It will be Orlando ball.
Stay here, Donald. 4-2 down.
Orlando with the full 24. The Magic have missed their last 11 shots. They double up on Anderson and a foul is called. Charles Smith has fouled out. That's number 6.
Well, the decision now for Pat Riley as to which direction do you want to go with. Do you want offense on the floor? Do you want defense on the floor? You've got to be concerned about who's going to run the offense and who's going to get the ball into the certain people. Riley talks it over with his staff and decides to bring Oakley back, who's had just a great game on the glass for the Knicks.
Pat Riley with a discussion. Assistant coaches Dick Carter and Jeff Van Gundy, and they make the move for Charles Oakley. Charles Smith fouls out, had only 4 points, 2 of 7 from the field, but did a nice job defensively. And Nick Anderson is now 4 for 9 from the line.
New York, timeout.
The Knicks take a timeout. 3:04 remaining in this grind-out ball game. The Knicks lead by 2. Captured it all. Came in with a long list. Shaquille O'Neal will enjoy his Valentine's Day even more so if the Magic can come up with a victory. It has not been a strong game for Shaquille. Got in the early foul trouble. He's 2 of 13 from the field, 1 for 4 from the line, 10 rebounds, 5 points, while Patrick Ewing has 26. Anderson missing on both. Royal with the rebound. Rejected by Ewing. Here's Shaquille. Rebound Oakley. And they knocked away. Last touch by Orlando. So the Knicks with a 68-66 lead. And the ball with 2:57 remaining. Fourth quarter. Mike, we've gone almost 6 minutes between field goals by Orlando. John Starks, who hit a 3 just moments ago, seems to be back on target. And the Knicks now lead by 4.
Mark, I do want to mention that this is the basket, the one that they're shooting 1 for 16 against, that Shaquille almost pulled down earlier. So perhaps he just moved it out of line. It's not the same spot anymore.
Loose ball foul.
Number 33, Patrick Ewing.
That is number 5 on Ewing. Patrick Ewing called for his 5th.
Shaquille O'Neal at the line, 32.
Orlando has missed its last 14 shot attempts.
And what Patrick Ewing was just talking about to his teammate Charles Oakley out there was about when he wants him to come and double team, when he wants him to leave him alone and play straight up basketball. That time, if I was reading Patrick correctly, he told Oakley to stay at home for a while. Don't come and double team unless I call for it.
Shaquille 1 for 5 from the line. The Knicks lead 70-67. 2.5 minutes remaining in the game. Mason, Oakley, Ewing up front. Starks and Anthony in the backcourt. 8 on the 24. Ewing going at Shaquille, and he's fouled. That is number 4. on Shaquille O'Neal.
Again, we mentioned, do you want to let the player come back to the middle of the floor? You try not to, but just by his stance with his left leg up and his right leg back, it invites the player to come to the floor. It opens up the whole middle of the court area for Ewing to make his move. And Patrick, being intelligent, takes it and dips the right shoulder and closes the distance down between Shaquille and himself to put it up and get fouled.
Ewing 3 of 5 from the line. He's had an outstanding game. The Knicks 72, the Magic 67. We approach 2 minutes remaining in the game. Anderson for 3. 0 for the last 15. 0 for 16. O'Neal finally hits for Orlando. The Knicks lead by 3. Starks for Ewing. Lots of time. Yes. What a setup from John Starks.
Well, Shaquille went to help out on the initial drive. Starks, feeling that maybe there might be a little help coming to try and stop his shot, looks over to Ewing, finds him wide open.
Oh, a hard foul given by Oakley. Crowd wants a flagrant.
34, Charles Oakley.
Now, if he takes his arms and brings the body down to the floor, then the official could interpret that, not only award him the 2 shots, but the ball back out of bounds if the official felt it was a flagrant foul. Obviously, no flagrant foul was called. He'll just shoot the 2 free throws. It's the follow-through of the arms, the body, that make them have to determine whether or not they feel it's flagrant or just a normal personal.
Donald Royal, 10 of 13 from the line. So that was a normal personal foul. Oakley has 5. Charles Oakley equaling a season high with 16 rebounds. The Knicks with a 4-point lead. 1:34 left in the game. The Knicks 74. The Magic 71. Orlando led for a good portion of the game. They led by as many as 10. Anthony. Ewing again with the opening. Mason gets to it. Key rebound by Anthony Mason. And Joe Crawford blows the whistle. Pushing foul on Royal. That is his 4th. Hope you stay with us following the Knicks and Orlando for the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic. That is immediately following right here on NBC. John Starks to the line. Missed his previous free throw. He was shooting a technical. John Starks not having a good shooting day, but has hit his last 2. Overall, he's 6 for 20. He's 3 for his last 4 overall.
Well, if you're Orlando and you're trying to pick out who to foul on the Knicks team, this is one of the guys that you do not want to foul because he's shooting over 77%. You've got Anthony out there at 68. You got Oakley at 65. You have Mason at 69. Even Ewing's just under 72%.
76-71. Knicks with the lead. Tolbert for 3. Rebound Ewing. One-handed by Patrick Ewing. His 14th rebound. The Knicks have come up very strong down the stretch. And the foul called on Skiles.
And there's the intentional foul, knowing that Anthony is not a good free throw shooter. They're putting him on the line, forcing him to make free throws. They'll use their timeouts wisely now and make decisions as to when they want to advance the ball or try and play for the quick score. But you're going to have to see the hurry-up offense. The intentional foul, just as he crosses over the half-court line by Scott Skiles.
Both clubs are over the limit. Orlando has only 1 timeout left. The Knicks have 3 and a 20. Greg Anthony is 0 for 2 from the line. Now Steve Kerr comes on for Donald Royal. They want that 3-point possibility from Kerr.
You're going to see hurry-up offense here on Orlando. Perhaps high pick and rolls to try and shake Skiles free, draw someone, and then kick to an open shooter. Here's the high screen by O'Neal.
Knicks lead by 6. Tolbert. What a rare field goal by Orlando here in the 4th quarter. They trap Mason, and And a foul is called. With 40 seconds remaining in the fourth, Skiles commits his fourth.
Well, the second of the trio on the floor for New York that's shooting just in the 60s as far as their free throw percentage. Last time it was Greg Anthony. He made only 1 out of 2. Now it's up to Anthony Mason to see if he can add points to the scoreboard for New York.
Mason is now 6 for 9 from the line. At one point, the Magic missed 16 straight field goal attempts in this fourth quarter. The Knicks now lead 78-73. Orlando 3 for 22 from the field, 14% here in the fourth. Here's the three-point attempt by Anderson. It cuts it to a 2-point ball game with 29 seconds to go.
Well, if you keep fouling intentionally and exchange 3 for 1, you're going to catch up quickly, and now you've got a 2-point basketball game.
Pat Riley wants a timeout. So the Knicks will talk it over. 29 seconds remaining, fourth quarter. The Knicks by 2. The scores are higher at the Bob Hope than they are here, Czar. Knicks with a 2-point lead, 29 seconds remaining fourth quarter. That's the timeout rundown. Orlando with only 1 remaining. Knicks have 2 and a 20. Orlando at one point missed 16 straight shots here in the fourth quarter. Overall 4 for 23. The Knicks are only 6 of 16. The Magic went almost 6 minutes between field goals. Patrick Ewing with 30 points. He has severely outplayed the rookie Shaquille O'Neal, who has 8, his low in the NBA 9 last December against Seattle. And Starks calls for time.
New York timeout, 20 seconds.
Well, Starks was trapped, and so a timeout is called.
The toughest decision right now is for Matt Kukas to decide whether or not, with 22 seconds remaining on the shot clock, 27 seconds remaining in the game, a 5-second differential, do you foul again, put him on the free throw line as he has done the previous 2 times and paid off for him, or do you try and play it straight, get the stop defensively, secure the basketball, then call your last timeout, advance it to half court, and try and set up something from there to either tie or win the basketball game? It's a tough call for Kukas whether to foul immediately or play it straight.
The Knicks have 1 full timeout and a 20. Bob Hope, Chrysler Classic is next following the Knicks and Orlando. Magic with 1 timeout remaining, and the foul is given. Greg Anthony was upset with the hit by Kerr and then decided to just pull back.
There's no need for that. Greg Anthony has to understand that's what the game's about. Down the end, you talk to your players about being that much tougher, holding the basketball, coming to catch it that much stronger, because you know that teams have to foul intentionally, and they're going to foul you hard. They're putting the pressure on Anthony to make the free throws.
He's a 68% foul shooter. He's 2 for 5 today. And here's Doc Rivers back. And Riley doing some shuffling without Rolando Blackman because of the knee injury. Charles Smith fouled out. Doc Rivers has not played at all in the second half. He picked up 4 fouls in the first half. Shaquille O'Neal with the rebound, and a quick timeout taken by Matt Kukas. So the Knicks with a 3-point lead. We have 24 and 7/10 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. And Orlando will be...
Foul line, if there's a miss, what you're supposed to do. Almost a mistake by the Magic. When the free throw goes up, Skiles is at the top of the circle. Shaquille secures it. Now, Skiles will turn to the official and call the timeout. Very fortunate, because when Shaquille passes it, that would have negated their ability to advance it to half court. Luckily, Skiles scored the timeout first. Kukas saw the exact same thing, trying to remind them, you got to call timeout. Don't dribble a pass.
Now, Orlando would love to get a good look at a 3-point shot. However, if they can't find one, they might go for the 2 and then come up with a quick foul, put the Knicks back on the line. They're down by 3. Anderson hit one earlier, and he throws an air ball. O'Neal, air ball. Anderson pops it out. Still lots of time, 10 seconds. Now Kerr sets up Anderson for 3 for the tie. He does.
presence of mind that time by the Orlando Magic. They were patient enough to understand how much time was left. They made the most of every opportunity. Kerr, who is normally your three-point shooter, put it on the floor, skipped the basketball across to the wide-open Nick Anderson, who had just earlier missed the forced one, but this time left alone, wide open, he knocks it down.
So Orlando has tied the game at 79. Nick Anderson with his second from downtown this afternoon. The Knicks calling for time with 8 6/10 seconds remaining in regulation.
The problem right now for the Magic, and I'm sure Matt Kukas is going over this in the huddle, if New York should score, they've got to get the ball in and up the floor quickly for a shot attempt. They have no more timeouts remaining.
In their last meeting, back here in early January, the game came down to a final play. Here's another look, though, as the Magic were able to swing it around. Good play by Kerr, who was able to spot Anderson, and he hit from the difficult angle.
Well, Doc Rivers did his job. He ran at Steve Kerr because Kerr actually was wide open for his three-point attempt. So Rivers did his job. He ran at the open shooter. He made him put the ball down on the floor and got inside the defense. Kerr did his job by putting it on the floor and spotting an open teammate opposite across the floor.
Ironic that Nick Anderson was able to hit 2 3-point shots down the stretch. Coming into today, last 4 games, he had missed his last 9 from downtown.
But Nick Anderson is shooting just over 32% from the three-point line. And early this season, people were amazed how well he was shooting from downtown with range up until the recent slump.
8 6/10 seconds remaining. The Knicks do have 1 timeout left.
Remember last game, 7.5 seconds remaining, 1-point lead for the Magic. The Knicks went to Ewing. He took it to the basket, but Shaq blocked it.
Warning against the Magic. Delay of game warning.
Delay of game warning. They had 1 to give as Matt Kukas was able to take a look at the Knicks setup. Hard Starks, led by Skiles, down to 5. Ewing, down to 1. He's rejected, and we go to overtime.
In fairness to Patrick Ewing, he's thrown the ball with very little time remaining on the clock. He's got nowhere to go, so you know that you have to get it up. The fumble caused him to have to hurry and turn right into Shaquille. Credit Shaquille. He maintained his space. He knew that Ewing had to go up. He avoided the body contact and put hands on the ball.
On to a 5-minute overtime as Matt Kukas certainly enjoyed that rejection by Shaquille O'Neal. We'll be back in a moment. The Knicks and the Magic tied at 79. Orlando playing its 4th overtime game. They've won 1, lost 2. The Knicks in their 5th. They're 1 up and 3 down. The foul situation, Charles Smith has fouled out, 5 apiece on Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley, 4 apiece on Scott Skiles, Shaquille O'Neal, and Donald Royal.
Well, Scott Skiles, who at halftime had a total of just 17 minutes, thought he was in for a short game for a change instead of 2 back-to-back 48s. Now all of a sudden 41 minutes with another 5 to go.
Mason posting up. Anthony, Starks, Ewing forced out deep, goes to the spin and hits. Patrick Ewing with 32 points. The Knicks lead 81-79. The Knicks 6 of 17 in the 4th. Orlando 5 of 26. A combined total of 11 field goals. That's all in the 4th quarter. Tolbert. Orlando went through a stretch of 0 for 16 in that 4th quarter. A minute gone by in overtime. Starks, yes. So John Starks has turned it up. After the poor shooting earlier, he's hit 4 of his last 5, and the Knicks lead 83-79. Skiles, wild pass. It will be Nick Ball.
Well, along with Shaquille, just 3 for 17 from the floor, you've got Tolbert at 4 for 12, and so many of Tolbert's shots have been wide open, medium range jump shots, and they're just not going today for him.
Yes, Tolbert with that 4 of 12 from the field. Shaquille O'Neal only 3 for 17. Starks blocked by O'Neal. And that is 3rd rejection.
You depend on your big man to cover up the mistakes of others. That time, Starks on his way to the basket for what looked like a sure layup, covered up by Shaquille with the block.
Mason. Fouled by Tolbert. Anthony Mason.
Number 25, Nick Anderson.
Taking Tom Tolbert down low. Well, Anderson came over to help out, and he's charged with the foul. That's 3 on Anderson. Anthony Mason, 6 for 9 from the line.
Greg Anthony mentioned to us yesterday that this Knicks team is a fun group to be around. They really like each other. 6 or 7, in fact, went out together yesterday to play a little round of golf in the afternoon after Pat Riley had given him an optional day of practice. And just then you could see Charles Oakley talking to Starks as the Knicks gathered together and said, don't worry about it. Starks driving to the basket, got the shot blocked when you had a couple open players. They stay with each other. They encourage each other. They're a tight group.
Knicks have reeled off 5 straight points in this overtime. Skiles for 3. And Bowie able to hustle it down. Tolbert. Starks was looking for a call. Tolbert got the roll. Knicks lead by 3.
No hesitation that time by Tolbert to catch. He looked up. There was Patrick Ewing. He knows Ewing has 5 fouls. Put it on the floor, make him move his feet.
Double team of Ewing. Here's Anthony. Yes, Greg Anthony, who has been hitting the jumper. 4 for 6 from the field. And the Knicks now lead 86-81. Best shooting performance of the afternoon taking place here by the Knicks in this overtime.
Well, both teams, give them credit, they've played outstanding defense. You know, in 2 previous games, as I mentioned earlier, New York has only scored 93 points a game against this Orlando team.
Another 3-pointer, Anthony Bowie. So that cuts the Knicks lead down to 2. We come up on 2 minutes left in overtime. Shot clock at 7. Starks. Rebound, O'Neal.
You can hear the crowd moaning as Starks was open and he started to release the shot. Someone had to get to him a little more quickly as far as the crowd was concerned.
Here's Shaquille. Ewing did not want to pick up his 5th. That won't count. Foul called before the shot.
Foul number 14.
Anthony Mason called for his 1st.
The one thing about Shaquille, once the first shot goes up, you've got to stay with him if you can stay off the ground, because he goes right after it and follows up for his 2nd and 3rd shot opportunities. I say you got to stay up, but easier said than done when the 7'1", 308-pounder turns into you.
It's a non-shooting foul. Shaquille now has 18 rebounds. Orlando with the ball down by 2. Here's Shaquille. He has tied the game at 86.
And because of fouls, Patrick Ewing really couldn't body up to him. He couldn't go after the block. He just had a hope that Shaquille would wind up missing an in-close shot.
10 of defense. Ewing. They have traveled. It will be Nick Ball, who was last touched by the Magic. I think Patrick got away with a walk.
I don't think it was a walk. I think it was the normal 2-step that Patrick Ewing always gets away with.
Timeout has been taken with 1 minute and 20 remaining in overtime.
A few moments ago, with 5 fouls on Ewing, all Patrick can do is put his arms up, don't challenge him too much, and hope that Shaquille misses it, but he doesn't. At the other end of the floor, Ewing turns into Shaquille with his right shoulder. The ball is exposed. Shaquille goes and gets it.
Mr. Stats, Elliot Kalb, our crack statistician, supplying us with an extraordinary number. Shaquille O'Neal has now blocked 3 of the Knicks' last 7 shots. He has 5 blocks in all. Only 10 points, though, 4 for 19 shooting, but 18 rebounds and the 5 blocks. Patrick Ewing is the high man with 32. He's playing with 5 fouls. O'Neal has 4.
And I'm sure the Magic coaching staff will mention after this game to Shaquille, this is why we'd like to have you around at the end of the basketball game.
Game tied at 86. Starks getting inside. Well executed off the inbounds. The Knicks lead at 88-86. 1:15 left in overtime. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, and Ahmad Rashad from Orlando. Capacity crowd. Better than 15,000 on hand for this third meeting between these two clubs. O'Neal was stopped. He was stopped on the double team. Just under 1 minute to go in overtime. Starks played by Bowie. 10 on the 24. The pass going through the hands of Ewing. And Ewing sent flying. Here's Anderson. And it's a blocking foul on Charles Oakley. That is his 6th. That is a critical loss. Charles Oakley with a season high 18 rebounds will join Charles Smith on the bench. Smith fouled out during regulation.
Now that whole play took place because when Ewing was knocked to the floor at the other end and he fell down, suddenly Shaq realized that, hey, if I run hard, I can beat him down. Ewing goes down, Shaq takes off, and when he takes off at the other end, somebody's got to pick him up. As a result, nobody stops the basketball until the last second. Oakley steps in for the foul. So by going down, that's what opened it up at the offensive end.
And Pat Riley decides to go small here. Doc Rivers will come on for Oakley. Nick Anderson is 5 for 10 from the line. He has 21 points. He's hit some key buckets down the stretch.
Well, not a problem for Pat Riley going small insofar as Doc Rivers can certainly play Anthony Bowie at the defensive end of the floor, and offensively, it's a pretty good matchup that way.
Game time, 88. 30 seconds to go. We are in overtime. Starks for Ewing. Rejected and a foul.
Tom Tolbert very upset. He felt that when he made the rotation, he had established position, and that Ewing came to him, and it should have been an offensive foul. There's the rotation. There's Ewing taking off, and a little bit of help at the end from Shaq, just to make sure that the ball doesn't go in.
Ewing is 4 for 6 from the line. Over the years, he has not been effective in final minutes of games, but recently he has been hitting the free throws. I'm talking about at the foul line. He's hit 3 of 3 in the final minutes here today. Make it 4 out of 4. Clutch foul shooting by Patrick Ewing to give the Knicks a 2-point lead. Timeout called. It will be Orlando ball when we come back. And back in Orlando, watch this, Czar. You can certainly relate to this. Pat Riley talking with trainers Mike Saunders and Tim Walsh going to the bottle.
It's headache number 63 in this basketball game for a coach. He knows that when this game is over, he's going to use those right away.
Pat's chewing on him. The Knicks 90, Orlando 88. 24 and 7/10 seconds to go in overtime. The Knicks have hit 4 out of 7 in OT. Orlando 3 for 7. Bowie, played by Rivers. O'Neal, backing with Ewing, and a foul. Let's see what the call is by Joe Crawford. Patrick Ewing lands on the floor. He's called for the block.
Patrick's smart enough to know that he can't react too much to the ball, because the last thing the Knicks need is to give up an extra point on a technical foul free throw attempt. So now what they're doing is they're putting a guy on the line who has been placed in this situation a couple times already this season. The game on the line. Can Shaquille make the free throws? There's the bump, the turn in, the body contact, and the foul is called. You go back to the Phoenix game here where the Magic had a chance to win at the end. Danny Ainge intentionally fouls Shaquille, put him on the free throw line. He missed both foul shots. Phoenix wins.
Sensational game, though, for Ewing. Shaquille hitting on his first. He's now 3 of 7 from the line, only a 59% free throw shooter. Orlando down by 1. Hits both to tie the game at 90. And the Knicks call for time with 13 and 7/10 seconds remaining in overtime. Shaquille O'Neal, who has had all kinds of problems at the foul line, able to bury the two in clutch fashion. Back in Orlando, the Knicks and the Magic are tied at 90. As you see, 13 and 7/10 seconds remaining in overtime. Mike, how do you play it from the Knick point of view?
Well, one thing that you might think about doing, you know that Shaquille has to play someone when he gets back out on the floor. Why not put a real small team out there? Whoever Shaquille has to guard, get him the basketball away from the basket and let him try and take Shaq off the dribble, either get a shot for himself, draw a foul, or kick it to an open teammate if someone else must come and stop the path to the basket. So it'll be interesting to see who Riley puts out on the floor at the end here.
On the line for the Knicks, a 7-game win streak. They've won 11 of the last 12. See the foul rundown. 3 Knicks have fouled out. 4-piece on Skiles, O'Neal, and Royal. The Orlando Magic has lost 3 of its last 4 games after winning 3 in a row. They had that good stretch winning all 3 on the road at Sacramento, at the Los Angeles Lakers, and at Portland.
Pat Riley electing to take the ball on the baseline where it's a little bit easier to get it in rather than at half court. Now they'll play for this final shot.
Herb Williams replacing Patrick Ewing. Down to 5 seconds. Anthony takes the jump shot. Rebound Mason. And let's see. Any call or a time run out? A traveling violation. We go to a second overtime. A travel called on Anthony Mason. Here's another look at it as we head to overtime number 2.
Greg Anthony got a good look at the rim, elevated, looked like it was going down, but then Mason, who's been terrific on the offensive boards all afternoon, does take a little cha-cha step in there as he tries to turn to the basket. Mason at the bottom of the screen, maybe could have been called for an offensive push-off foul on the rebound, but right here is where he shuffles. You can't go cha-cha without putting it on the floor.
The Knicks and the Magic tied at 90. We'll be back with the second overtime in a moment. Welcome back to Orlando as we move on to a second overtime. Still to come. They are standing by in terms of the television equipment, but of course they are playing without us. The Bob Hope Chrysler Classic will follow the Knicks and Orlando. Patrick Ewing fouled out just a moment ago, joining Charles Smith and Charles Oakley on the Knick bench. Doc Rivers has 4. You see 4 apiece on 4 members of the Magic. On to overtime number 2. And the Magic control. Scott Skiles, Anthony Bowie in the backcourt. Nick Anderson, Tom Tolbert, and Shaquille O'Neal up front. Shaquille hanging in with 4 fouls. 12 points. He has not shot well, but he has 18 rebounds and 5 blocked shots. And he hit the 2 free throws to tie the game at 90. Here is Shaquille over Herb Williams. The Magic with a 2-point lead.
But one of the reasons that the Knicks brought in Herb Williams was to give a backup guy to Patrick Ewing, a guy that could rebound, play defense, and block shots. He certainly will be tested here in this overtime.
Mason trying to set a pick. Illegal defense call. That's the warning against Orlando.
After playing against a 7-footer, just a couple inches difference, gives Shaq a clear look at the basket.
Now, a week and a half ago at Madison Square Garden, the Knicks played without Patrick Ewing, who had a knee problem, but they played Golden State and they defeated the Warriors. This a different situation. Warriors do not have a big-time center. The Magic with Shaquille O'Neal presenting a major problem.
Let's go back to what I said at the end of regulation time about Scott Skiles. It was at 41 minutes, then it was going to be 46 minutes, and now we're looking at 51 minutes for Scott Skiles on the floor.
Minute gone by in the second overtime. Starks, John Starks, on fire now after the bad start, and the game is tied at 92. Starks has 22 on 9 for 25 from the field. That is a leg block, and the Magic will get a new 24.
Dale Jarrett has won the Daytona 500 with Dale Earnhardt finishing.
Anderson will throw in. It has been a wild one, a low-scoring game throughout. You can look at it two ways: good defense, bad shooting. Bowie, and is rebounded by Anthony. At one stretch in the fourth quarter, Orlando missed 16 consecutive shots. Neither club shot well in the fourth, although the Knicks came from behind. They were down by as many as 10. Shot clock at 6. And a foul on Tolbert.
Foul number 40, Tom Tolbert.
If we take a look last time that New York scored, you'll see the defensive man shoot the gap and try to go through while the offensive player winds up pulling up short, shooting the jump shot. The chance you take by trying to go through the screen and shoot the gap, if the offensive player reads it, he's wide open. Starks does a good job.
Foul on Tolbert, his 5th. Tony Campbell has come on. He has not been out there for some time. It's Starks. Yes. The Knick offense is now John Starks. He has become unconscious after struggling earlier. The Knicks lead 94-92. Starks 7 for his last 10 from the field. Anderson posting up Starks, clipped him in the chin. Rebound is cut down by O'Neal, and the foul. Yes, and it counts.
Shaquille actually pushed his own teammate out of the way to come up with that offensive rebound. Anderson trying to put a little pressure on Starks, who has hurt them at the offensive end. Shaq says, Tolbert, move out of the way. Let me get this one, Tommy.
Anthony Mason called for the foul. Here's Shaquille. He's hit his last 3. 3-point play, and the Magic up by 1.
You mentioned Starks being the main offensive threat. You also have Tony Campbell out there who can score points.
Starks to the reverse. And last touch by Skiles. It will be Nick Ball. 2:23 remaining in the second overtime. Orlando leads by 1. Campbell couldn't find anyone and has to call for a timeout, avoiding a 5-second violation. We'll take a break. The Magic 95, the Knicks 94.
Mason a little upset at the last play. Why was New York forced to call a timeout? Because Orlando basically zoned this play as Mason set the screen and Starks came off. Mason steps right into the heart of the defense, and you can see that Mason is wide open calling for the basketball. He doesn't get it, and as he walks off the floor, he is not particularly happy about what took place. He wanted the ball. He knew he had to score.
The Knicks have 2 timeouts remaining. Orlando with 3. Mason will throw in. Mason, Williams, Campbell up front, Anthony and Starks in the backcourt. Donald Royal now guarding John Starks. Orlando with a 1-point lead, 95-94. 2 minutes, 15 seconds to go in the second overtime.
Isolation for Starks. It's all on his back right now to produce a shot.
He goes to the left hand, came up short. Starks getting to it, and he drew the foul. What an effort by John Starks.
Well, he may make some mistakes, but one thing you'll never take away from him is the fact that he has a gigantic heart and gives every ounce of energy out there on the floor. When you've got players out there like Mason, like Starks, they just keep coming after you. They're relentless. Their hope is they eventually wear you down.
Shaquille O'Neal was called for that foul. His 5th. Starks 2 of 3 from the line. And he has been a solid free throw shooter. He's at 78%. The game is tied at 95.
Orlando has been double teaming Anthony Mason along the lane line because New York is not a good free throw shooting team. They miss a lot. Mason has become a very good offensive rebounder on missed free throws. So Orlando has been squeezing him. Right now they've got Anderson and Tolbert putting a double team on Mason on the block out.
The Knicks take a 96-95 lead, just under 2 minutes remaining. Second overtime. Scott Skiles has played over 50 minutes now. That pass was deflected. Starks claiming that he was hit by Royal, but he took a shot, pleading his case to the official Joe Crawford. Joe with a snappy one-liner. Shot clock at 10. Anderson forced further left by Campbell, and Mason snatches the rebound.
Tony Campbell put a pretty strong body on Anderson that time to knock him off balance before he went up with the jumper.
The Knicks by 1, trying to make it 8 straight wins, 12 of the last 13. Orlando continues to come back, as they did at the end of the first overtime, at the end of regulation. Starks for 3. Kept alive by Anthony.
When you take long, if they miss and hit the rim, you're going to have long rebounds. The problem is Skiles was on his way in to try and help on the glass because he knew Shaquille had gone out to challenge the jump shot.
10 on the 24. 1 minute left in the second overtime. Shot clock at 5. Mason out to Anthony. Williams has to shoot. And it will be Orlando ball. The shot clock was down to 1. And Herb Williams, who has been shooting very poorly as of late, it's difficult. He's been in and out of games, has not been getting much time, but he had shot well earlier this season. But he's been way off recently.
And Pat Riley feels that he's putting too much pressure on himself, feeling that he has to make shots. He doesn't. All he has to do is defend and rebound.
Anderson able to play the deflection. The pass went through O'Neal. Orlando takes a 1-point lead, and the Knicks call for time with 38 seconds remaining in the second overtime.
Well, sometimes you can draw it up and it works. Other times it doesn't matter what you draw up. You just get lucky, and that time they got lucky.
And as both clubs talk it over, we go to the Bob Hope Classic for a report from Charlie Jones.
And here at the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic, Tom Kite with a 3-shot lead over Rick Fair. They're at the 14th. Kite 31 under par. He is 6 under on today's round. He started at 25 under. Rick Fair has taken a bit of a move at him, Johnny Miller, but has not been able to close on him.
It's pretty hard to close when you got a guy that's made that many birdies and an eagle. Tom Kite has played smart. He's been aggressive where he's supposed to, and like the last hole, the 14th hole, he kept the ball left away from an All-American canal. And here's his putt at 14 for birdie. He's got a right to left putt, going to break about 4 or 5 inches to the left, just to extend his lead. Fair has already made par and at 28 under. Another nice putt. Tap in when you're that far ahead, 3 shots ahead. You just want to play smart golf and pick your spots. Cross-handed putting stroke. Combination of both couples and Kite cross-handed. There can be a lot of guys trying that now, huh, Charlie?
And with 4 holes left, a 3-shot lead here at the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic. Back to basketball, to Marv and Mike. Gentlemen, go to work.
All right, Charlie, as you see, 38 seconds remaining in the second overtime. Knicks have 1 timeout left. Orlando with 3. Here's another look at that last play. The deflection to Nick Anderson.
Well, I think that what Shaq was trying to do is he remembers the pass earlier in the game that Oakley threw it out, looking where he fired it over his shoulder to Ewing on the baseline. That was Shaq's version of the same pass.
Anthony setting it up. The Knicks are down by 1. Mason with a pretty swing-away move and got the roll. So the Knicks lead 98-97. 26 seconds remaining in the second overtime.
That was a real tough basket that time for Mason, because after the up and under move where he faked Tolbert out, Shaquille had rotated over. He got that righty hook up over the top of Shaquille.
Tolbert draws the foul. Foul committed by Tony Campbell. And that's the first field goal today for Anthony Mason, who's done his scoring at the foul line.
Well, the fake gets rid of Tolbert, but then here's Shaquille coming. He waited a little bit too long to elevate that time. At the other end of the floor, put it on the floor, make them move their feet. Campbell trying to rotate over, gets in his path, in his way.
Tom Tolbert making his first appearance at the line, a 73% free throw shooter. In his 5th season from Arizona. He's played most of the way today. Game is tied at 98. Patrick Ewing standing over to the far side of the Knicks bench, waving his towel, was trying to bother Tom Tolbert. A sight job here. With the rebound, of the Knicks call for time. So the game tied at 98. 12 and 8/10 seconds remaining. Second overtime. When we come back, it will be Nick Ball, and who knows, maybe a third overtime to come.
During those last free throw opportunities, Patrick Ewing, trying to bother the shooter, was waving his towel down in the corner by the Knicks bench. One of the officials walked over, made Ewing move from that position. He could have called disconcerting the shooter, which would have awarded Orlando one more free throw opportunity. That's why Patrick moved up the court away from that deep corner spot where he could be seen by Tolbert.
This the 4th time this season that an NBA game has gone to a double overtime. There has not been a triple overtime this year. 12 and 8/10 seconds remaining in the second overtime. The Knicks and the Orlando Magic are tied at 98 as Anthony moves it to the front court. Down to 6. Down to 3. Starks with the open shot, rejected by O'Neal. Time runs out. We go to a third overtime. That will not count.
I don't know if I want to be in that spot, knowing I have to shoot it with the Shaq running at me.
On to a third overtime right after these words. Back to Orlando as Herb Williams and Shaquille O'Neal go on the opening tip, and this third overtime is underway. First ever triple overtime in the 4-year history of the Orlando Magic. The Knicks last played triple overtime back in 1977. Tolbert could hold on. Williams gets to it. December 16th, 1977. Knicks at Milwaukee. The Knicks lost 152-150 the last time they were involved in a triple overtime. And this is the first triple overtime of the season in the NBA. Anthony looking for the shot. He's picked up on a switch, and then Skiles gets back to him. Shot clock down to 1. Anthony Williams with the rebound. Herb Williams blowing the layup. Here's Tolbert. Well, we've had everything now.
Offensive foul, 40, Tom Tolbert.
Offensive foul on Tolbert. He's fouled out, leaves with a little flare.
Just by showing the ball, he gets Herb Williams to come out and challenge him, then the ability to put it on the floor. The problem is, one of those small people keeps stepping up and getting in your way on the way to the basket.
Well, some cynic just came by and said, well, perhaps in the third overtime, these clubs will reach 100 points.
Defense has been prevalent, and you talk about great defensive plays. The ball fake gets rid of one defensive man, but when the next guy, the big one, comes out at you, too tough to get it over the top of Shaquille.
Anthony gets a pick from Campbell. Now Mason working against O'Neal. Mason very good off the dribble and is rejected. Bowie lost it. Anthony Mason, a very skilled ball handler despite his size, but Shaquille stayed right with it.
He did an excellent job. Tried to stay down in his stance. If you can do that for a 7-1 guy, moved his feet and then avoided the contact.
Starks way off. Mason, 24-second violation. So Orlando gets it back. Game tied, 98. A minute 20 gone by in this third overtime. John Starks, following that hot streak, has now missed his last 5. He's 10 for 31 from the field. Patrick Ewing is fouled out. Here's Royal. Williams got a piece of it. Starks try to spin his way. And Skiles with the save. Campbell hit the deck.
Well, with all the fouls that have taken place and people that are on the bench out of the game, it's like the little people are taking over the glass right now, fighting for every rebound.
Rebounded by Mason. Neither club has scored in this third overtime. The Knicks, as you see, have missed their last 7. Orlando went through a string of 0 for 16 at one point in the fourth quarter. Here's Starks, stopped by Shaquille.
That's the reason why your great defensive teams have that shot blocker back there. He erases the mistake. The mistake you think is going to lead to 2 points. Instead, it's the ball out of bounds for New York.
7 blocked shots for Shaquille O'Neal. Starks with the ball fake. Rebound Williams. Herb Williams, who missed his first 5 attempts, comes up with his first field goal, and the Knicks now lead 100 to 98.
That's exactly what you encourage your center to do when you play against a shot blocker. When he leaves to go block the shot or change it, you go to the basket in case there's a miss. That's what Herb Williams did that time.
O'Neal against Williams, gets it back out. There will be a host of tired players after this one. Anderson had to fire it up with the 24-second clock running down. Last touch by the Knicks. It'll be Orlando ball.
How did Herb Williams come up with the easy score? When Shaq leaves to go block the shot by Starks, there he is by himself. Herb Williams just move in. No one there to put a body on him.
It has been a wild one here in Orlando. Knicks by 2 in a third overtime. All right, Charlie, and we want to alert our stations that we have already aired our final station break for this game. So when the game is over, if it does conclude, and we are anticipating that there will be a conclusion here, we will send you directly to the Bob Hope Golf Classic. Perhaps there are some personal messages, Czar, that you have for some of the stations down the line. The last triple overtime game, apparently not, in the NBA was last February. In triple overtime, Utah beat Chicago 126-123. Shaquille O'Neal with a drop step. Wow, that was a Patrick Ewing move, and he's tied the game at 100.
Herb Williams had to use all of his strength and his body and size to try and stop Shaquille from turning to the middle. He got so far over that when Shaquille drop stepped and came back, it was just too late.
Shot clock at 7. Mason with the fake, but met by O'Neal. Shot clock at 3. Starks. Rebound. Campbell had it knocked away. Campbell rescues. The pass picked off by Anderson. The game tied at 100. 1:25 remaining. We're in a third overtime. Longest game of the season in the NBA. Here is O'Neal again. And the foul.
Well, right now, O'Neal knows that if they don't come and double team him, there's nobody to play him. The first time he starts middle, Herb gets way over to stop him, then it's too late, clear path for the layup. This time, he just goes where he wants to, overpowers Herb Williams, a little fake to get him in the air, and then the score and the foul.
Williams with the rebound. The Magic by 2. Minute 10 to go in the third overtime. Early fourth quarter, we're discussing the fact that this was Shaquille O'Neal's most ineffective performance as a pro. Forget that. He has 21 points, 19 rebounds, 8 blocked shots. John Starks has been way off. And Mason and Royal battling for it. blocked shots, ties a career high for Shaquille. So they'll jump it up. John Starks has now missed his last 8. Anthony gets to it. The Knicks put the ball down by 2. 40 seconds to go in the third overtime. Williams, O'Neal with the block. The Knicks want a goaltend. It is not called.
The Knicks bench felt that the ball was on the way down, that Shaquille took it from there, that it should have been an offensive goaltend call.
Oh, Pat Riley very upset. 3-point attempt. And Anthony tried to get to it, then knocked out of bounds by O'Neal.
If the ball is on the way down, then it is 2 points. The officials felt that Shaquille got it up at the top and that it was not coming down, therefore they allowed it. New York, well, they just don't quite agree to that one.
Timeout is taken. 19 seconds remaining in this third overtime. We'll be right back.
One more look at the last play. The big block by Shaquille. If it's on its way down, it's goaltend. You can block it into the glass. You're allowed to do that. So if you were concerned about that, don't be. It's when it touches the glass that it's goaltend if you take it off. And Pat Riley, well, he's voiced his opinion, that's for sure.
That's a tough call. You could talk yourself into going either way on that one.
You could talk yourself.
Well, what
you do
think?
talk to yourself.
Absolutely. What did you think? Good call, not good call?
I thought it was a good call.
All right.
You thought I was going to, like, waver on that a little bit, didn't
Absolutely.
You?
The Knicks only 1 for 14 in this third overtime. 33% shooting for the game. It's Knick ball as we resume with 19 3/10 seconds to go. The Magic leading by 2. The last time there was a 4-overtime game in the NBA, February 1st, 1987. Golden State beat New Jersey 160-147. A lot of folks out there have put the time in. John Starks, 51 minutes plus this third overtime. Scott Skiles, the same. He played 51 minutes plus this third overtime. The Knicks down by 2. 15 seconds to go in the third overtime. Campbell posting up. Starks. Anthony. Way off. Air ball. Final seconds. And that will do it. That's waved off. In triple overtime, Orlando defeats New York 102-100. That's the end of the 7-game win streak. The Magic has won 2 of 3 against the Knicks this year. The Bob Hope Classic is next. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad saying so long from Orlando.